but we can't hear him.
And
Oh no, he's got an intro. Hold up.
There we go.
what's up, guys? It's Legend X Ronin, and today I have another live discussion for you guys. Today we will be discussing Unpopular Opinions, Mortal Kombat Edition. As our guest today, we have History Behind the Warrior. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
How you doing, guys?
Nickfamous. And Nick is out.
No, I'm here. How's it going?
Survivor Combatant.
Hola, como te estás?
Alrighty. And we're going to go ahead and kick it off by starting with some of our own unpopular opinions about the series itself. And of course, you guys can go ahead and comment any unpopular opinions that you have, and we'll start taking some from the chat later on in the stream. But let's go ahead and start with you, History Behind the Warrior. What is an unpopular opinion that you have about Mortal Kombat?
Oh god, better light up those torches and get ready with those pitchforks. All right. Reptile's a bland, one-dimensional, cliched character who, at this point, is only good at becoming a leather jacket.
Amen, brother.
Oh gosh, why did he come for one of my mains?
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
I told you it was gonna be bad. The reason why I say that, now, I'm not saying inherently Reptile as an idea is a bad character. I think in design, I think he's absolutely fantastic. I love his design. I think that's one of the greatest selling points of his character. But the problem is with Reptile that I've always found with the characters, despite it's the living embodiment of the phrase untapped potential. There is so much, there's so much they can do with the character, and it has been untapped on since, was it Mortal Kombat Deception, and we didn't even see when he molded himself into becoming kind of became Onaga. We only got to see that in an arcade ladder ending, and well, those things aren't really satisfying to watch, especially back in the 3D era, which, oh, don't worry, that will line up to another unpopular opinion. So, my problem is with Reptile as a character. He seems more interesting down on paper. In execution, he probably has as much personality as, I don't know, a packet of Pringles. His literal personality is he serves other people. And when a character cannot be dependent and put themselves in their own direction, that means they have no storyline to work with outside of just their gimmick alone. That is the problem with what they've done. Now, I understand the character definitely has fans, and I think the character definitely looks great. But looks alone don't make a character fantastic. And that is the one struggling point the character has right out the gate. He's a good idea, poor execution, fantastic design. There's so much about the character that's really cool, but there's nothing about him that makes him great. And considering we're in a new generation age of characters, does Reptile really need to have a place on the roster at any future installments? Not to me. I mean, there's other characters that fulfill his role. It's nice to see him there aesthetically, but tell me, what has Reptile done in the last 2 games?
Gotten his ass kicked.
Be a jobber, I'm not gonna lie.
Nailed it hard. That's the problem, and it's not just because the writing. The character has nothing to do, so that's why I say, I just put the character to rest, because if you keep putting him in the games, you're just gonna make that win-loss ratio look worse. Just don't touch the character anymore. Like I said, that's why I think he's so bland and one-dimensional. He has nothing to work with. He can't think for himself because he relies on the master in both the old and the new timeline. In the original, after Shao Kahn died, he ran off to Natara. No, was it Natara?
It was Natara.
Yeah.
Well,
and
yeah, it was Natara.
She manipulated him like, I don't know, some crazy bitch basically, and used him to his own will. And once she was gone, he had Onaga, but after that he has nothing to work with. He's so single-minded in what he does. And even in the reboots, after he was saved, I'm going to put that in air quotations, saved by Kotal Khan, he's now sworn his entire life in existence as someone who could have killed him in his sleep. Because Shao Kahn isn't around anymore. And that's my main problem with the character. His gimmick is his crutch, and the writing doesn't suit who he is as a character. It just doesn't work with him well. That's the problem. But that's all I have to say about Reptile as a character. I get people like him. I get the appeal. I definitely do like the design, but I just can't find any positives about him outside of that.
Okay, so as a Reptile fan, I do have some notes. I mean, it's not that you're wrong. You're right, and that's coming from someone who I've loved Reptile since day one. And the thing is, he's a jobber. And like that's pretty much has been the main basis of his story. He serves, he gets his ass kicked. That's about it. And like
makes other people look good.
At this point in time, it's more so that he's running on nostalgia as being the first secret character, and that's kind of like that in his gameplay is what brings him back. And like with Mortal Kombat Deception, that was kind of like his kind of claim to fame, like the most relevance he's ever had without actually having relevance, because he was the host body for Onaga. And personally, I feel like maybe they could have played on that a bit more, just to kind of make Reptile a bit more relevant. But when you take all that away, I mean, you're not lying. He is.
I mean, it sucks, but you know, just he's kind of the way it is, which is the really, really crappy part. But there's just nothing to work with, man.
Yeah, and that's the sucky part about it. I mean, my thing is, like I say with a lot of characters, you can always write story into them, and like he could have more story, especially with Onaga not having shown up in this timeline again. So maybe they could make him a bit more relevant into that plot, but I mean, that would be up to them. And knowing NetherRealm Studios, they're just not good at giving like most characters more stories. So you make a valid point. I love the killer character, but it's a valid point.
Yeah. You jump onto the next guy then?
Nick, unpopular opinion. We're gonna go down the list, and each of us are gonna.
Yeah. Okay. The only thing I had to say about that is I feel like the only reason they're keeping Reptile like a constant character is because he's classic. I feel like that's the only thread that he's hanging on with. So I agree entirely.
I mean, the other explanation is they need someone to get beaten up. So I'm gonna
that's
go
right. They always need a jobber, right? So exactly.
I mean, we have Aaron Black for that now. So
new age jobber.
New age jobber, guys.
Aaron, don't talk about Aaron, okay?
The guy got created just to be a jobber. That's
pretty much, yeah. All right, so for my first unpopular opinion, and it's kind of weird because so just to start off with, I don't think that they should have made any new characters in Mortal Kombat 11. And I know a lot of people like Jiris, and a lot of people like the look of the other new characters. And it's not even that I don't like them or that I think they're like poorly designed or anything like that. It's just I think it was a little too soon, considering they have all these characters they just created from Mortal Kombat X, and they haven't really had time to develop on that. Like, I feel like they've only had one game, so, and the comics, but I mean, the game didn't give enough depth to like Kotal or Aaron or Devora or any of them really. Like, so to just all of a sudden be making new characters to try and give personality to, like, I understand Kronika, like, it's cool to see a new villain. It is nice because it's kind of getting redundant just redoing the old ones like Shao Kahn, Shinnok, you know, everyone was expecting Onaga or something. So it was a nice change to see Kronika as a new villain. I'm not against that idea. I just think that they should have focused more on developing the Mortal Kombat X characters before making new ones. And I know they're bringing back a lot of the Mortal Kombat X characters, so I just hope their focus is on developing them as well. But I still think that like Takeda, Kung Jin, and Ferrator should have been worked on before they set their priorities on new characters. That's just how I feel about that.
No, I honestly like 100% agree, because I didn't want any new characters at all. And it's not that I hate new characters or anything. It's for like the exact reason you just said. Like, you have all these other characters that you probably need to work on and make better, which, I mean, they did good with Cassie and Jackie, making them better. But I mean, look at all these other characters who they just kind of like thrown away for the moment. And I just feel like, personally, that NetherRealm Studios is always trying to kind of like implement these new things without working on the old stuff. Like, for instance, like, instead of even giving us so many new characters, we have a long list of 3D era characters. Granted, not all of them are redeemable, but they can be worked on and made better. And y'all showed that with Mortal Kombat X. Like, look at Tanya. Tanya was great. Look at Boraicho, a character who was hated by a lot of people in the past, but gained a lot of fans when they redid him. Like, instead of giving us all these new characters, work on what you have. Like you said, Chronica makes sense. It's a villain. It's a new villain. So, I mean, that works, but all this new character stuff taking up roster spots that could have been given to so many other deserving characters, like Rain. Like, I mean, granted, Rain does not have a lot of story relevance. He had more so relevance in Mortal Kombat X than he's ever had in the entire series, but at this point, I just feel like, as far as fan demand, there is no reason he should have not been on the roster. So that's just an example of a character who had a spot stolen by a new character.
That's true, because I think that's another thing NetherRealm should take into consideration, is that there are a lot of this 3D era characters that fans really want them to bring back and make cool. So it's like you said, it's almost like the new characters are going to be like they're going to make fans feel like they've been robbed of a roster spot. Like, and especially because it's not as bad as Mortal Kombat X, because Mortal Kombat X had quite a few newcomers. I think this one only has like 4 or 5 if you count Chronica. So again, but like you said, there are like, I think probably almost over 100 Mortal Kombat characters that they could have picked. Like, there are a lot, you know what I mean? So to just start making new ones, I feel like they're not ready to make new ones, considering how empty and bland, and like said earlier, kind of like how Reptile's one-dimensional. A lot of Mortal Kombat characters are one-dimensional, so they should really work on fixing that before trying to take a stab at new guys.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Any of you guys have like an opinion kind of on like just the idea of us having new characters?
You want to go first, Survived?
I mean, I don't mind new characters. Just make sure that, I mean, here's the deal with new characters. There's a difference between, and this is going to go into one of my points. There's a difference between 3D era characters and new characters. New characters basically had the time to shine in that game. They were in the new timeline. You know, NetherRealm had the chance to make Jackie what she is. Look at the concept art of fucking Jackie, the one with the katana. That looked badass, but they made her look like a bland special forces agent.
Mm-hmm.
They could have given her personality with that, but they chose to make her like everybody else. And she could have had the time to shine, but she just ended up becoming Cassie's friend and Takeda's girlfriend. So I don't hate the possibility of new characters. My thing is that if you're gonna make new characters, at least give them something. Don't make Aaron Black like he's a jobber. Okay, he was one of the coolest looking characters, and I had to sit while kicking his ass. That made me feel like shit playing against him. And if you're going to make new characters, make sure they have a story to back it up. And that's all I'm leaving it at.
Agreed. What about you, History Around the World?
Personally, I'm fine with new additions to the roster. It's always been a problem with not just NRS games, but I think it's fighting games in general when it comes to adding characters to rosters and making them feel like they have a purpose. I don't want a character to be on the roster because, hey, the design's cool, we have a great idea. What do we do now? Put her in. It's great. I don't want that to be the end-all and be-all of how a character is integrated into the game. I want them to have a purpose, a sense of being. And I feel like that's something that a lot of characters do miss in games. I mean, a perfect example is Ferritor and MKX. What a fucking poor thing. What a great, cool idea of a symbiotic pairing of some crazy little psychotic girl and a monster. You know, that's a great idea down on paper. But their time, like, they did nothing in the story mode that really capitalized on that idea. And that's the problem. Like, I like new additions to the roster. I really, really do. It's just I want everyone to have a role and not be there, because let's throw out an idea. You know, but that's all I have to say on new characters. Like, I'm quite happy with the new bunch of characters. I know we have Garrus, Chronica, and 2 other, I'm not going to say, characters in the pipeline, but I'm interested to see how relevant they'll actually be, and hopefully, you know, they'll feel like they have a purpose to take part in the universe.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to talk about those other 2 characters, and, you know, same thoughts. Like, if we're gonna have these 2 characters, I hope they are really relevant, not just some characters who are going to be added just to see one time and just to see them get their butt kicked. But I mean, like, based off of name for one and possible theories for the other, I mean, these could be 2 good new characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the problem. It's like the idea of the idea and design, they have to work and they have to play off each other.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just throwing out an idea for the sake of throwing out an idea, then the idea dies. I mean, for God's sake, look at Shigenko. A guy who can... No, literally, Shigenko down on paper could be a fantastic idea as a character. Someone who fights with anyone, absorbs their abilities, learns how to do it, and utilize it in his own way. What did we get? An old, crusty man stuck in a prison for God knows how long, crying about, oh, I've been deceived, when he's the biggest yes man in the universe.
Exactly.
Like, that was the main problem I had with that specific character. And like, even the 3D characters, who I do not like a large majority of them, I'm not going to pretend that, they all had potential. They all still do have potential. It's just about reimagining and crafting them into such a way that they can fit into the universe once again and be good. You know, unless you're Suhao, fuck Suhao. But still, be good.
Nah, I agree with you. Like, untapped potential.
Oh yeah. By the way, I'm actually going to get that done on the shirt someday. You know what? I'll bring it to Combo Breaker. Bring it to Combo Breaker.
A fuck Suhao shirt?
Yeah, fuck it, I'll do it.
I swear to Christ.
What, you want
disrespect our hero.
No, do not disrespect
Oh my gosh.
our man.
I'll give you one for free if you'd like. You like a freebie?
I can't wear that propaganda.
I would gladly wear that, actually.
Oh, God.
I would gladly wear that.
But that's all I have to say on there. Anyway, I don't want to dwell on the topic too long and take away from other people's time.
All right, well, does anybody else have any opinions on new characters before we move on to the next one? I'm going to take that as a no. Okay, so, Survived. What is one of your unpopular opinions?
I'm gonna piss off a lot of classic fans off, so let me hold up. Let me preface this by saying that
The gas.
by the way, I started in my first game that I've ever played was Mortal Kombat Trilogy, so
Same.
it was at the tail end of the fucking classic era, but I don't give a shit. So let me say this. There's and we talked about this, of course, in your last podcast, about the classic characters.
Yeah.
There's characters I really wish were not in Mortal Kombat 11. And 2 of them, of course, was Ermac and Reptile. And it really does go back to history behind saying that Reptile is a one-dimension character. If you guys don't know, I made a theory a while back ago about Reptile actually having a tail. Apparently they were going to try to make him have a tail, but because of gameplay reasons, they couldn't make it happen. So That's why I said that Alien was probably a test character for making Reptile have a tail. In a way, I feel like that's what basically Deadly Alliance Reptile would play like. But my deal is that most of the characters are very one-dimensional. You know, Sonya has the beef with Kano, which should have been fucking squashed in Mortal Kombat X. I am tired of seeing that goddamn rivalry for the 11th game now. it's literally been going on game. So I'm tired of that. And this will play on to my next thing. And speaking about rivalries, I'm tired of this Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I like both the characters. You know, even though I like Scorpion more than Sub-Zero, I like both characters. I'm tired of seeing Sonya Kano. I'm tired of seeing Jax. I mean, the Jax chapter should have really went to Serena in Mortal Kombat X.
You know, yes and no, because I wouldn't have mind either way, to be honest. But I mean, like, Jax still was a bit relevant just because they needed him because he was a former Revenant. Yeah. But I mean, I guess Serena could have helped too, though. So it was just either way.
Here's how I feel about Jackie's character. I feel like they should have went with the Jax dying thing way early in her childhood.
Oh.
I feel like the Netherrealm or some like Netherrealm demons came in or, you know, stayed after the battle and probably killed Jax, causing Jackie to join the army, not because she wants to, but because she wants to, you know, honor her father, you know, stop what basically killed her father. She doesn't want to be in the army, but she kind of has to because she wants to honor her dad. I feel like that story should have went to Jackie. And it would have kind of like, I mean, we've seen Jax die in 3 endings now. Come on.
True.
Yeah. But another character I do not want to see back is so I said Sonya, Jax, Kano, Melina. I have a huge problem with Melina being in the game. Melina was there, and I originally liked the original timeline Melina more. The one where she grew up with Kitana. I like that fact that, you know, over the years, Melina grew resentment over Kitana, and then ends up trying to kill. What if we're going OG timeline? Like, we don't even know what kind of OG timeline we're doing. Is it Mortal Kombat 9 OG timeline, or is it like 1 through Armageddon OG timeline? We don't even know yet. So it's like I don't want Melina back because she is a one-dimensional character too. And before you guys say, "Oh, well, she can have clones," really? You're going to say, "Let's use her clones"? Do you know how, like, unoriginal and, you know, how ununique that would make Melina if you went with the clone theory? She would feel like, oh, you know, one Melina dies, hey, let's bring another one, or that one dies, let's bring another one. That makes her ununique.
That is true.
And Melina died trying to get that throne. She died for it. They should just leave it at that. I don't want Melina back in Mortal Kombat 11. I feel like she should sit one game out and let another character be in.
Yeah, we definitely talked about this in the classic characters coming back, and I agree, honestly, because I mean, her story is told, done. There's really no real relevance or reason to actually bring her back. I mean, DLC, I guess that's one thing, but on the main roster, no, definitely not. And I mean, she's not on the main roster, but she could still be a secret character. But at this point, I just feel like that spot there's so many characters that deserve it over her at this point.
Yeah, which is gonna go to another one I have, but yeah, look. It's not that I hate classic characters. I fucking love Kano, Sonya, Jackson, Melina. It's just, and Reptile and Ermac. Reptile was one of my favorite characters to look at in Mortal Kombat X. But we can't just say, oh, story doesn't matter at this point. We have, for a fighting game to coexist in this day of age, we need to have the story mode and gameplay be in harmony with each other. We can't just have one or the other. We have to have both in harmony. So that's my piece on the Mortal Kombat Classic characters not coming back. Unpopular opinion.
And I mean, like I said, I definitely see where you're coming from. Certain classic characters, it would be nice to see them come back. And I mean, Ed Boon talked about us getting classic characters back, which is probably going to be like a lot of the DLC for Kombat Pack 1. I just think that, I mean, at this point in time, I mean, MK9 was completely classic. MKX, it was mixed here and there. I just feel like at this point, with the third game of this new reboot, you guys should definitely be bringing in more 3D era characters. And I understand not everybody like 3D era characters, but these characters really could be revamped. Like, these are your new characters. Like, revamping them can make them like new characters. Like, look at Jackie. Like, Jackie got overhauled so much from X. To me, she's like almost like a new character, if you ask me. Like, they've literally said that 80% of her stuff was changed over from MKX. So it's just, if you could put that same energy to 3D era characters, I mean, while we all love classic characters, you could really just introduce something new to the roster. But that's just my piece on it.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I like the old school characters, but I feel like they've had the time. I feel like it's time to move on a little bit, you know, move forward. Like, even if that's new characters for that matter, God, what can they do with some of the old characters? I mean, for God's sake, what are they doing with Kano with each installment? They're just making him more Australian. That is literally what they're doing with him.
I mean, pretty much.
I'm not even joking. Like, he's more Australian now than he's ever been, even in the film.
Hello, baby.
God, my skin crawls. But it's just kind of like that's the main problem. And like I said, I'm all for moving forward. That's why I didn't mind X's roster. I'm fine with taking out some of the characters in order to add new ones, because it just adds a new flavor to the roster. I mean, both from a story and gameplay perspective, because when you add a new character to the roster, you get to play around with any idea you want. I mean, for God's sake, we have a man that's literally a walking hourglass that can dial back time.
True. I
mean, it is crazy talk, but it works. It does work. But I'm just interested to see what's going to go. I hope they don't keep integrating the same characters again and again and again, because it's. I feel like they're kind of running out of ideas when it comes to adding characters into the next installment when it comes to movesets.
Yeah.
Because when I look at Sonya, I'm just kind of like, this just basically looks like Spec Ops Sonya from MKX. But, yeah, that's my say on it anyway.
And just piggybacking off what you just said, is just like, MKX was very refreshing just because we pretty much got every single classic character for MK9, and it made sense because of the story relevance. And MKX hit us with 8 new characters, classic characters, and some 3D era characters, and it was just like a good mix. But I just feel like, you know, after getting 8 new characters and after seeing a game where there was completely nothing but classic characters for the most part, this is like, at this point with MK11, you would think we would be getting like more 3D era characters, in which new characters are okay. It's just like, we just got a game where we had, like, honestly, if you really want to put it, you can say 10. I mean, Tremor's not new, but he's the first time he was playable. Triborg, the idea was thrown around in Armageddon, but this is now it coming to life. So in a way, it's like we got 10 new characters, and it's just like, at this point, while they were all fun, like, you have so many other characters you could be working on right now that's not classic. Which
Oh,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I half agree with it, just in the sense that I think they should like Survive said, they should get rid of characters like Jax, Kano, Sonya, and Melina, but I don't think they should get rid of like classic characters as a whole. So I mean,
Oh,
when
no,
they
no.
take characters, no, but like I know that sounds bad, but
Yeah.
like so when they take characters like that out, that'll leave room for characters that have missed like recent games. So like Nightwolf and Shiva, characters like that. You know what I mean? Other classic characters that we don't see quite as frequently as like Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and all those characters. Because I mean, like History Behind the Warrior said, it's kind of like they've played their card. You know, like maybe time to take a step forward.
Yeah, and
not to get rid of them altogether, but even just to take a break for a game or two would be nice.
Exactly, and like I don't think either of us are saying like get rid of them altogether or anything like that. It's just like give some characters a break and let some other characters shine.
Exactly.
Which is like
they have
why
a lot of characters.
Yeah, which is why I feel so heavy with Melina sitting out for this game, because I'm just like, she has no relevance. So what's wrong with her sitting out for a game? I mean, Jade sat out for MKX. Why can't it be Melina's turn just to sit out? It's just one game, and for all we know, she could be DLC. I mean, if she's DLC, she's DLC. But as far as like the main roster, nah.
I think it's necessary that a character like Melina sit out, just kind of like you said, so that they can at least get a start on this, kind of getting used to changing the roster a bit and not using the same classic characters over and over and over.
Exactly. And
but yeah, I kind of agree.
And I think, I guess this would be the perfect time to kind of segue into my unpopular opinion, because, I mean, I feel like this one won't piss everybody off as much as one of them will, but one of my unpopular opinions is I don't think that Cabal should have came back. And I get that a lot of people love him, and I think his biggest claim to yeah, I know his biggest claim to fame is his gameplay, because he has very fun gameplay. It's just literally, aside from the original like trilogy story, what relevance does Cabal have? I mean, yes, he's a revenant. He's probably going to be working for Liu Kang and Katana, but seriously, Cabal never really had no legitimate relevance to the story. And I love his gameplay, don't get me wrong. He's fun as hell to play as. It's just like,
we need a guy to beat up. We couldn't find anyone else. Here's Cabal.
Exactly. And it's like he's pretty much going to be a Netherrealm jobber. I mean, we have our different classifications of jobber. We're more well known with our Outworld jobbers, you know, Reptile, Aaron Black. But now we have a new Netherrealm jobber, which is probably going to be Cabal. I mean, like, he's not going to add relevance to the story. Literally, like, all it is him pretty much being a burn victim, which that changed up the way that happened in this timeline. And it seems like based off of the intros that we're going to be, I mean, maybe like there might be some more tie-in to him being used to how he used to be a part of the Black Dragon, which I doubt that he's going to be a part of it now. But I mean, it looks like we're just going to get plain old Revenant Cabal, which has no story relevance whatsoever. So I mean, I feel like, I mean, he would have been better off as the DLC character, in my opinion. But that's just my unpopular opinion.
All right, so who's gonna attack him first?
Hey, I knew you guys were gonna come for me, so I was like, I'm ready. I got shots.
No. But the thing is, I actually, from a storyline perspective, I agree with you. I agree with you from a storyline perspective, because after MK3, he didn't really have a main, like, he doesn't really have anything to do with the main plot of the game. Aesthetically, he's great. Aesthetically, I think his design's fantastic. I think the main selling point of Cabal is his design and his gameplay, but I think that's as far as Cabal goes. I'd be interested if they could do anything with the Black Dragon clan, as they did try to do that in the original timeline, but they didn't really do a good job of it at all, in my opinion. If they redo it here, maybe in the alternate time, he's the head of the Black Dragons or something like that instead of Kano, maybe that puts an interesting twist on it. But for now, I agree with what you say, but the only reason why I'm happy with him being in the game is solely from a gameplay perspective.
Exactly. And
storyline-wise, but, you know, I go either way.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So, like, his biggest claim to fame is his gameplay. And, like, I'm not shitting on him in any kind of way. I love his gameplay. It's just literally, aside from that, there's no purpose. But go ahead and Nick. Go ahead and say what you have to say, Nick.
I was just gonna say, so I'm gonna like tackle this from as unbiased as I can because Cabal is one of my favorite characters, and I was waiting for him to come back this game. But I absolutely agree with what you were saying. He isn't relevant to the story at all. I'm not gonna lie and say that he is. But the only thing I would counteract on that is that I don't know if you remember how everybody felt about Jade kind of just being ignored in the last game and like just like not acknowledged whatsoever. Like the writers were like, nah, we're just not even going to mention her. You know what I mean? So I just feel like we don't want a repeat of that. And I just hope that what they're doing with the Revenants in this game is giving them closure in the story. So that way we can put them to rest. Because as much as I love Cabal, I agree. He's not relevant to the story. But at the same time, I think it would be unfair to not have him in the story just because his character, along with basically all the Revenants, needs some sort of closure.
Which, no, I definitely agree with that. But then, I mean, when you really put that into perspective, then that kind of like makes it sound like you're saying every Revenant should come back for a moment just so we can either kill them off or bring them back to like normal. And in that sense, should like a character like Striker come back? Because honestly, Striker's one and done to me. He had great gameplay in MK9, but he's one and done. Like I hear you. There's no reason he should come back.
No, and that's what I mean. So they could even. Wait a minute.
Sorry, I had to step in. Did you just say Striker had really good gameplay in MK?
Okay, not really good. He had fun gameplay. Let me fix that. He had fun gameplay because I was really interested. Like I like how they did him compared to when I was a kid playing him on MK Trilogy. I enjoyed his gameplay. It was interesting because I'm like, how can you make a police officer work? I mean, granted, like there's special forces characters like Sonya, but a police officer. I mean, you're going up against people with magical abilities, monsters. Like it was interesting. I enjoyed his gameplay in MK9 just because I thought it was interesting.
The only reason I say that is because in terms of tier list, Kano and Striker were like at the very, very bottom, and they were considered atrociously bad. Anyway, I'm gonna go away. You guys keep talking. Striker still sucks, bro.
Yeah, so you know that you make a really good point with Striker. Like obviously a character like him isn't going to be brought back, most likely. Like I guess it could happen, but most likely not going to be brought back. So I just don't know how they would deal with that. I feel like it would be, again, like unfair to kind of give them the Jade treatment, because I found how they treated Jade in Mortal Kombat X was bad writing. So I'm really hoping Mortal Kombat 11 sort of covers their ass for that a little bit. But I just think that, they need to be addressed in some form. Like whether it be small or big, they could have even been just killed off at the start of the story mode and not made playable at all. But anything, I guess, is possible in story word.
I mean, yeah, that is true. It's just, I mean, like I said, I agree with you. There does need to be some kind of closure because I mean, we all kind of expected we were going to see some of that in MKX, but now it carried over to MK11. So, I mean, this story definitely needs to put the whole Revenant thing to rest. It's done out.
It's been too many games now.
Yeah, so
I agree with you in the sense though, like he doesn't really need to be in the game. He's just kind of there.
Yeah, and like I said,
mainly
I don't hate the character exactly, and I feel like since it's gameplay mainly, I feel like if a character is solely desirable based on gameplay, that's what DLC is for. Exactly.
Yes. Exactly. They don't need to be in the story.
Exactly. So it's just like there's no because like the issue with the way NetherRealm Studios do their games is that the story decides the roster, not fan demand, really, unless they just know how to write a character into the story. But I mean, from previous experience, I don't really feel like that's like the case. It's always solely story based. So, and when we're talking in those terms, there's just so many characters who probably shouldn't be on the main roster, which kind of sucks though.
I agree. Yeah. So other than closure, I would agree 100%.
Can I add on that Cabal thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, we okay. So have most of us played the beta?
Yeah.
I know history has. I know. Yeah. So you all have played the beta.
Yeah.
there's a lot of canonical errors with Cabal already. Him not having his mask while his face is burned, that is very, very non-canonical. He needs that to survive. But here's the thing. I'm more worried about how they're going to write Cabal in this story. My thing is that in Mortal Kombat 9, of course, Kano makes the claim that Cabal used to work for Kano in the Black Dragon. So, are they gonna go with that, or are they gonna just make him a jobber? Or, well, I guess Black Dragon equals jobber, but it's whatever. Now, the other thing that like, what does Cabal really do other than just work for Kano in the original time? Well, Mortal Kombat 9 original timeline.
He runs really, really fast, and he's good at running.
Okay, Flash.
He's a track star.
Okay, they wanted to make Flash 2. No, cut.
That's honestly what I thought when I saw that fatality. I was like, they really just revamped Flash's super from Injustice 2 to make it brutally like savage.
Now one of the commenters, Darian, really good friends of ours, XX Sleeping For.
Yeah.
He brings up a good point. I feel like Cabal should have been replaced with Nightwolf. Now, of course.
I mean, if you can make Nightwolf relevant story-wise, yes.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up. Let me explain why I feel like Nightwolf deserves a better spot. I've had a chat about this with History, of course, earlier today about when he was mopping me on the floor with in Mortal Kombat X. But Nightwolf as a character, he would work in a story like Mortal Kombat 11. The whole deal with Nightwolf is purging all evil. He's a shaman. Now, the whole deal with that is that I don't care about the Mortal Kombat 11 feud between old school Liu Kang and Kung Lao and Revenant Liu Kang and Kung Lao. I do not care about that whatsoever. I kind of already figured that was going to happen. Now, if they wanted to do something really, really cool, I want past Nightwolf to meet with Revenant Nightwolf. I want him to look at the Revenant Nightwolf and realize that, holy shit, this is who I'm going to become. I'm going to die and I'm going to become everything I've ever hated. I mean, basically, when he turned into a Revenant, he basically just he disgraced his tribe. He became evil incarnate, and I feel like as a character to Nightwolf, that would lay so much of a burden more on him than it would Liu Kang and Kung Lao. And it's gameplay wise, yeah, he does need a revamp. I'm not gonna lie, but at least give him that chance. Cabal basically doesn't really have anything with story except for the Black Dragon. You can do a whole lot of things with the Revenant story. If you're going to end this Revenant storyline up real quick, have Nightwolf in it. Because that makes the most sense. If you're just going to do that.
Yeah. I mean,
but that's my thing.
I mean, I agree. Like, Nightwolf would have definitely been a better choice, because I feel like with Nightwolf, who he is, you could easily make him story relevant compared to who Cabal is. And I'm not saying that you couldn't make Cabal story relevant. He's not, but you could easily make Nightwolf more story relevant, especially considering he's the one who's completely sacrificed himself to stop Sindel and help everybody. I mean, gosh, we can't get an aftermath to how he feels about that or his thought process on that. But I mean, as far as going back to gameplay with what you said, I honestly thought he had some okay gameplay as far as what I like, not tier wise, but it's just like they could do a lot with Nightwolf, and I do believe he's going to be DLC. So I mean, we'll probably get to see something from him. But yeah, I agree with the idea of him having been a better choice than Cabal. Cabal kind of got in more so with Fandom Man.
I'm biased towards Nightwolf. Like he's like one of my all-time favorites. Like behind Goro, he is my favorite Mortal Kombat character. So of course I would have preferred to have him. But actually, I'm going to leave it to history behind the warrior, because when we were talking about Nightwolf earlier, he had a really interesting point about Nightwolf and how he would survive today. So I just want to let him explain that.
I'm actually curious. Let's just hear this.
All right, so we're gonna get slightly.
Okay. How off topic are we about to get? Because I feel like this is about to be deep.
Slightly, I would say more real lifey for a second.
Okay.
And the real reason why I say that is because we're in a modern age where character representation matters, but it also has to pan in a certain way that it pays homage to certain heritage, but also doesn't make a mockery of it. And there's a fine grey line there that honestly now can't be touched without it being seen as some form of racism or mockery of someone's culture when they just want to obviously express it. This is something that Harada, the creative director of Tekken, actually mentioned recently, where he said he would love to make more characters and put them into the game with something that, you know, represents their nationality and culture, but he can't do it in such a way as he wanted to do it in the past now, because he doesn't want people to be offended by integrating someone's culture to it. So I'm not sure, as much as I do like Nightwolf, I'm not sure if a Native American character who willingly, openly represents his culture and wears it on his sleeve would work in a game today. Because
I can attest to that.
That's a valid point, though.
So,
I can
that's the
attest.
problem.
Chief Thunder and Eagle from Killer Instinct 3. Now, if you guys don't know the process behind Eagle's recharacterization in Killer Instinct 3, they for a DLC, free DLC update, they gave Chief Thunder a new costume. Now with that let me see if I can find that costume, y'all. Alternate costume. KI3. So what they actually did was go back to the basics. They actually went to real Native American tribes and had them design what the character was going to look like. So let me throw this image into the general chat, if you want to put it up in the actual live stream. But this, yeah, but yeah, it's in general chat. That's his redesign. You know, it doesn't really like differentiate, you know, Thunder's character, and it's I think if you did what Microsoft and Double Helix and the crew at the Killer Instinct team, because there's of course 2 developers in Killer Instinct, if you actually go out, seek people who, you know what they're talking about, then there should not be any problem. Anybody that says, oh, this is, gives a shit. The people who represent this made it. So there should not be a problem with that, or with Nightwolf, if NRS is willing to go out there and give representation in a positive light.
That won't stop the SJWs, though.
I don't give a shit. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you're...
Let's not step into that realm. Let's not go over there.
I'm just saying, if you're still gonna bitch after where they've actually went out and redesigned a character with, you know, being, you know, cautious with it in mind, then I'm sorry, you don't really have an opinion. Because these people have you know, redesign the character this way that doesn't offend that core audience of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're just trying to look for brownie points too. So yeah, that's my whole deal on Chief Thunder working today. Or well, sorry, Nightwolf.
He called him Chief Thunder.
Don't say
Oh,
that.
Jesus.
Contradict yourself for the last one.
Boy, that out of context would be terrible.
No, his name is actually Chief Thunder.
No, I know that, but like people would probably think you're talking about Nightwolf when you called him Chief.
Oh God, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that out of context would be terrible.
Oh no. Oh.
L. But yeah, so just drawing back to the original statement, like I mean I agree with you. I do think they can make him work. I mean I just can't see, I mean I'm not Indian, so I guess I can't say that, but just if they do it the right way and try to take the time to really think about this, and even if you wanted to consult some Indian people and figure out what might work and what might not work, it can be done. I honestly think it can be done. And like as long as they do it in the right way, Nightwolf can return.
Yeah, I agree with that. 110%.
Yeah, but just drawing it back, I don't think Cabal should have made the roster, to be honest. At least like base roster, he could have been DLC. Personally, he just adds no story relevance. He just has really good gameplay. Love his gameplay though. But going to second round of unpopular opinions. We're going to start back with you, History Behind the Warrior. What's another unpopular opinion you have?
We'll go for option 1 or option 2 to make people hate me.
Oh yeah, I'm saving my hate me one to the end. Me personally.
Bring all the salt.
Number 2. Let's do backdoor number 2.
Raiden's a huge dumbass. He's an absolute idiot.
Agree.
What an appalling character. What a great idea that was executed like sandpaper to someone's nuts. It is so bad. So bad. How do you take... Oh, you could send anything back to your past self. One thing. Don't date this person. Don't buy that car. He must win.
So
Or you could have rephrased it as Shao Kahn must win. No, you had to go with he must win. The most
Chow must win.
ominous, dumbest, the worst thing you could say to yourself. That's like it's like the exact opposite of hindsight, of where you can see the future and you know what's going to happen and stuff like that. Like, you don't know what's going to happen, and not only do you not know what's going to happen, you are going to fuck up everyone in your circle because you don't know what you're doing. It's like you've invited everyone over for Thanksgiving, saying that you're gonna cook, not knowing that you don't know how to cook, and you poison everyone and they die at the table. It's terrible. He's a huge dumbass. A huge dumbass. It's just... The idea of Raiden. Thunder God, super cool. Protector of Realm, super cool. Should have left him at that. Anything from MK4 onwards, where he's had to be involved with the plot in any way, shape, and form, he's been a dumbass. He got a bunch of people killed during Deception. He then became Edgelord Evil, brought back one of his allies back to life to then say, hey, I want you to protect the realm. I know what really works by showing my protection and my care. Kill everyone you find. I'm sure they'll really learn to appreciate me then. And it gets worse. And then he sends that message back to himself, which is, you could have just said, take the red pill. Take the blue pill. You could have said anything. You just said scratch the right arse cheek. You could have said anything back to your past self. But it's the most ominous thing you can find. And it baffles me. I understand. The reason why it was done is to create a different tangent from the original timeline. But that's not a good enough excuse for the dumb bullshit he pulled off and the amount of people he got killed. He killed so many people. And I know, like, Sindel like was the catalyst for murdering all these people. But you put the pieces on the table, you serve the plate to her, and she headbutted the cake. She headbutted the cake, and everyone's dead. And the worst part as well is that at the end of the game, he's so desperate, he's willing to sacrifice the souls of the friends he has until he finds out that they've already been taken. And I'm like, prick, what? What are you doing? And it just... Ugh. Alright, I needed to vent that out my system. That's been building up for a while. But, like, it was from like, right off the MK4. I didn't like Raiden. I didn't like him up to Armageddon. And then MK9 just really just flipped that switch of just turning it up to 1 million and just saying, how can we make this character an even worse human being? Oh, for this case, God. And if that's what NRS was going for, they did a great job of it. Because I fucking hate this character. He's such an asshole. Like, and I guess that's the perk of now him being a somewhat pseudo evil anti guy. I won't have a... In fact, I would encourage myself to beat the shit out of him more when I'm playing as whatever character. Like, I'll happily look through their move list and find a way of kicking his shit in. But that's how I feel about Raiden. I know there's Raiden fans out there, and I'm sorry I'm talking shit about your favorite character, but I'm also sorry you like such a shit character.
Oh my god, this needs to be a series. History rant.
This man just went off.
Everybody is going fucking wild on the chat. We need to make this a series.
I mean, okay, so first off, let me start by saying this might not even be an unpopular opinion. Raiden's a dumbass. Like, he makes so many stupid fucking decisions, and it's just like, I was able to tolerate the first timeline decisions that he made. Like, I let it go. I'm like, the guy is under a lot of pressure. He gave up his Elder God status to help everybody, even though he's still making stupid decisions. But yeah, that shit he pulled in MK9, man, that shit's almost unforgivable. Like, especially with that, like, I completely forgot about that scene at the end where he offered up everybody's souls to Quan Chi. That is the most, not only did you get everyone killed, you got everyone killed because of you being dumb and couldn't have simply said, Shao Kahn must win. And I get it for story reasons, but it just makes it sound so dumb because he could have easily said that. But not only did you get everybody killed, literally, you offered up their souls. Like, what kind of jackass does that? Like,
that is the real life equivalent of killing all your friends in a room, stringing them up behind your car, and driving down the road.
Oh god!
And letting everyone know. It's just characters.
I mean,
dude, I feel like it's more so like killing all your friends, going to the funeral, like, huh, better than me. That's how I feel.
Look, dude, when he killed Liu Kang,
oh god,
there should have been a video saying it was at this moment that Raiden knew he fucked up.
Like, literally, yeah, you killed your best warrior. Like, not Liu Kang was so relevant to the original timeline. You had to know that you fucked up when you killed Liu Kang. I mean, granted, Johnny was the replacement, and amazingly, Johnny like rolls up to the challenge. But damn, man, you went as far to even get Liu Kang killed. Like, literally, let that sit in your conscience.
That's why I have no sympathy for during his chapter when he's literally facing that. That's why I actually really enjoy Raiden's chapter in that game, because now he's faced by the sins of his past, and his fucking pupil is in his face mocking him for killing him, and that is one of my favorite points of the MKX story.
My favorite
when he
scene
get
is
jumped.
when they actually all get pissed and start fucking gangbanging.
Yeah, they started jumping them. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed. I'm not even gonna lie, I laughed.
Representing bullying in the middle of their story.
I was like, well, damn, like, they just jumped this man.
No, just straight up, like, oh, dude, I don't know if there's anything else I can say about Raiden. My head exploding, but yeah, I don't like this character. I'm gonna have to do a remastered history of video on him at some point, which I'm not gonna enjoy it, but I'll do it anyway.
Definitely do. I would not mind watching that. And I mean, I don't hate the character. I just think he makes a shit ton of dumb ass ideas, and it gives me more of a reason to why I want Fujin to come in and take over. Like, Fujin has so many ways they can go with him story wise, and it just makes me so angry. And part of the old timeline, he did step in once Raiden became Elder God, and then Raiden stepped back down. But still, it's just, oh man, like
No.
gosh.
If they bring Fujin back in, I bet you they will try to be edgy and show how evil Raiden is and kill him. Have Raiden kill Fujin.
I said that. I literally said that. I said, I swear to gosh, if evil Raiden kills Fujin, I'm fighting NetherRealm Studios. I am going to Chicago and I am raising hell. Like, I know you guys did not just do this.
No, dude, no. They will try to show how edgy he is. Like, oh, hey, let's you know,
Put some
I'm
black
all
mascara
down.
on him, grow out the nails, paint him black.
Yeah.
You know.
I feel like the beginning prologue scene with him fucking up Shinnok, that's enough edginess. Like, we get it. He said, ha ha ha, what you gonna do to me? I can't die. And you chop his head off. Like, that's brutal enough. I don't need you killing off a character who could have so much story relevance. Like, that, oh man, that would make me so angry.
Do you think they intentionally rate Raiden as a stupid character or not?
I think it's plot.
For a god, he's pretty stupid.
It's plot, because, like, going back to what History Behind the Warrior said, how he could have simply just said Shao Kahn must die. I mean, granted, that would have ruined, like, I mean, there would have been no story. Really would have been no story if he would have did that. So, I mean, yes, but in retrospect, when you look at it, it is so dumb and cliche. You could have easily just said Shao Kahn must win, instead of all the trouble that they went through in MK9's story.
Hey, you want to hear early April Fool's joke? Raiden's a good character. He's the best that's ever been produced.
That's not until 3 hours.
No,
for
no,
me.
not for him. Yeah, he's.
I'm ahead of time.
I was
Oh, that's right.
I was expecting him to say Rain is DLC. I said, don't do that to the chat. Don't do that to the chat.
I'm not that cruel. Anyway,
No,
I'm gonna
that's
pause.
DLC.
I'm gonna pause it off to someone else before I don't know. Like my head explodes from just sheer irritation of some stupid dumbass.
All right.
Oh.
So enough of the sneak dissing on Raiden. Nickfamous, what is your second unpopular opinion for Mortal Kombat?
Okay, so now more character dissing. I don't think it'll live up to nearly as good as History Behind the Warrior's roast on Raiden, but my unpopular opinion, and I think it's unpopular anyway, is that I really, really, really hate Frost, and I really wish
he done started it. Let's go. Put my boxing gloves on. Let's get in there. Come on.
Okay, so
I'm ready for the square off.
Here's the thing. So I know you love Frost, and I know out of a lot of the 3D era characters, for whatever reason, Frost is one of the more appreciated ones, but I just can't get behind it. Like, I understand NetherRealm Studios is probably going to make her as different as they can so that people will finally stop calling her a Sub-Zero clone, but I mean, just her original concept and everything about her from the start, and the fact it took this long, I don't know, like, I think that there's just so many more 3D era characters that were deserving, like, original 3D era characters, because in my opinion, no matter what way you slice that cake, it's just going to be a female Sub-Zero. Like, no matter what. Like, no matter what they do, everyone is just going to say, this is Sub-Zero as a female, and, I mean, I don't know. I just have never really liked her. She's always been one of my least favorite Mortal Kombat characters, and I really just don't think that Mortal Kombat 11 is going to change my mind on that. So yeah, you can go ahead and rip me apart now.
Everybody's
So you're done? You're done now?
I'm done. You can go ahead.
Chat, it's about to go down. Okay, female Sub-Zero bullcrap. Yes, granted, I will give you this. She is the pupil to Sub-Zero. That does make her very similar to Sub-Zero just because she has the same powers. Most people's biggest issue with Frost is that she has the same powers as Sub-Zero. That is why she's seen as a Sub-Zero clone. That is the dumbest thing to me, just because of the simple fact that, do you know how many characters in Mortal Kombat has fire powers? Liu Kang, Goro, Shang Tsung, Tanya, Taven. I mean, there's so many. Sector. Like, there is like at least 15 characters at the very least. Scorpion that has fire. Kai. I can go on and on. And you telling me because one other character has ice powers, they're automatically a clone to another character? I mean, it's easy to link them two together just because that's mastering people. If they have the chance to make her different, I feel like they can do it. Granted. Because look at Takeda and Scorpion. Master and pupil, but they're completely different. I feel like with Frost, yes, he is a cryomancer. They can take it to a whole nother level. Back in the MKX days, I did a whole variation video on her. And granted, yeah, I did talk about some ice stuff. Of course, she's a cryomancer, for God's sake. But they can take things to a whole nother level. Whole nother level. I mean, give her mist powers. Give her something extra. I mean, she's working for Chronica now, for God's sake. They could easily find ways to make her different. And just don't play on the same traits as Sub-Zero. And also, don't dress her like Sub-Zero anymore. That was going to be like my biggest thing, because I actually meant to do a video about how to make Frost better. But don't dress her like Sub-Zero. Make her look different. I mean, if anyone have seen the leaks, oh, well, I don't want to get into that. But still, you know what I mean. Yeah. You know exactly what I mean.
Right. Well,
you know exactly what I mean.
Here's my rebuttal to that. So, like you said, there are a lot of fire manipulators in Mortal Kombat. However, certain characters, like you said, like Kai, he pretty well is recognized as a clone as well to Liu Kang. So, that,
I mean, yeah, old comic book wise, Liu Kang trained Kai.
I know, but I'm just saying, in terms of like recognizable, a lot of people would say Kai is just Liu Kang in a different, because in Mortal Kombat 4, right, there was no Liu Kang, so Kai was basically the replacement. But anyway,
no, Liu Kang wasn't in 4. I mean, Liu Kang wasn't 4. He beat Shinnok. Yeah, he beat Shinnok.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, that's how.
Yeah. they both were in MK4.
Oh, okay. I thought they were only in the gold version.
No. Liu Kang was the main character again in MK4.
Okay. Well, regardless, I know a lot of people do recognize Kai as a clone, and that's not my point anyway. It's the fact that none of the characters you mentioned dress the same. Frost, from the very start of writing concept, I guarantee, was just planned out to be female Sub-Zero. Scorpion doesn't look like Liu Kang. They also manipulate fire differently. And I just think, like, everything, like, she had very similar moves, like this, like the ice ball and the ice slide. And like you said, she is a pupil, so it makes sense in story-wise. But I just think that she is just a redundant clone, and I think it is entirely different than the many fire manipulators in Mortal Kombat. And then another thing is, I never said she didn't have potential. That was one of the first things I said, is that I think they could make her different, but in my mind, I'll always remember her as the shitty Sub-Zero clone from the 3D era. That's just my opinion, anyway.
I mean, I'm a dial it down a bit. Dial it down a little bit.
I'm just that's just all I'm gonna. That's pretty much the end of that for me. That's all I want to say.
You're right on some levels. You're definitely right, because it's just like they represented her terribly as a master pupil thing in the previous timeline. It's just, I feel like, to base Frost solely off of the previous timeline, which, I mean, granted, that's pretty much how most people are going to base things, because, I mean, that's the only time we've seen her. We have not seen her really other side from, like, cameos in the new timeline. I feel
I'm
like,
not trying, just to cut you off real quick, I don't want to contradict myself, because earlier I was saying that I would like to see the 3D era characters be revamped. So in a sense, I am glad for that. But in another sense, I'm kind of pissed off that Frost was literally the only 3D era character this time around that they felt the need.
No.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like, she shouldn't have been the only 3D era character.
I'm not against them bringing 3D back at all. It's just Frost in particular is not one of the ones I would have picked. But yeah, I hope people at least understand why I don't like them. I'm not saying that you have to hate Frost or that she's like the shittiest Mortal Kombat character. It's just I personally don't like her.
Okay, then answer this question right here. She comes back. She's different gameplay wise. She looks different. She has big story relevance, which is how it looks, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
could that persuade your thoughts to change?
Well, the thing is my bias would automatically say no,
gosh,
right?
come on.
But listen. You didn't let me finish. But there was also a point where I really heavily disliked Jax, but the Mortal Kombat X really turned that around for me. I don't know why, but their interpretation of Jax really just gave me a liking towards the character. So maybe in some weird twist, they really will nail Frost. Who knows? I mean, Mortal Kombat 11, there's really been nothing that I dislike. I've been talking about that with my friends, like aesthetic-wise. Like, the fatalities have been pretty gruesome, and they're all pretty epic. I mean, yeah, some are lackluster in comparison to others, but overall, everything has been pretty pleasing. So I can't see Frost being like the one black duck, you know what I mean, and having bad fatalities or bad fatal blows or bad combos. I think like fundamentally she'll be just as good as any other character, but I just lore wise, story wise, I just can't get down with her. But like I said, hopefully that'll change. Who knows?
Can I attest to the Frost debate?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, here's my thing on Frost. Look, yes, in the original timeline, basically just a female Sub-Zero, but you have to take into account gameplay. She is a female. Females are more nimble in the story mode, or in the original timeline. She is very, very aggressive. So as we already see Sub-Zero right now, he's actually pretty aggressive, and history can, attest to that. Now, what if they made Frost more aggressive, just like her personality, but because she's a female, make her more nimble, able to move around, I don't want to say command grabs because that's not how I see Frost, but basically a teleport like what she had in Deadly Alliance.
I mean, I think that was like the whole thing with Frost, though, in the previous timeline. Like, she was, I mean, granted, she was very similar to Sub-Zero. I won't ever deny it. She was very similar to Sub-Zero, even though I feel like they can make her different. But the difference was she was more nimble. She could kind of like move a little bit. She had to teleport and all that. Yeah.
And my other thing is that, and this will come into my third point about the unpopular opinions. Frost has a huge story relevance, and as of course in the trailer, it is speculated that we see her right next to Veronica. Like she is being saved for something.
And I have a hunch, but I don't know if it would be spoilers. I kind of want to say it on stream right now, so I could just be like, "I told you so."
Yeah.
Which, I mean, chat, go ahead and say that you don't mind, or you mind in chat, but go ahead and finish saying what you're saying. Survive.
Okay, so Frost being in, that makes sense. If okay, let's take it back to Mortal Kombat X. The best part about Mortal Kombat X's story was the Sub-Zero and Scorpion alliance. Now, before of course, the tea time, Frost was very aggressive over Scorpion. Now, in story relevancy,
yeah.
Do you think Frost is willing to work with Kronika to overthrow Sub-Zero and try to dismantle the alliance between Sub-Zero and Scorpion?
Okay,
so Hasashi, sorry.
It's funny that you said that. So I'm about to go ahead and say what I was going to say earlier. Chat didn't say anything about them. It's a speculation, though. I guarantee that Frost is going to be the leader of the new Cyber Lin Kuei.
Absolutely.
Because we have already seen the Cyber Lin Kuei is going to be in the story. She's working with Kronika. She already resents Sub-Zero. Like, it already seems like she's going to be the same way from the previous timeline. So why not bring this character back, have her revamp the Lin Kuei in her own way, and have her be the new leader? Because that's kind of like what she wanted to do in the previous time. Like, she wanted to take over. So, like, this is kind of her chance to do that. and which would be kind of cool to see if Noob ended up working with Frost, which is like, oh man, that'd be ridiculous. But like, just goes back to what I'm saying. Like, she has story potential. She has so much story potential. All they do need to do is nail her gameplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I said, and it's not like, oh, story significant. No, it's not just that. It also has to, like I said before, it has to be story and gameplay in harmony with each other. If they, every character looks good so far, gameplay wise. Even Noob, with how different he kind of looks so far.
I still wish they would have gave him the scythe.
If they made Frost into, everybody's speculating that Frost now is Cyber.
Yeah, I see that, and that's what made me think that. I hope it's not true. I definitely hope it's not true, but that's what made me think that, because a lot of people started saying that, oh, Frost might be Cyber now. Look at her, like, look how she looks, and I'm like, I don't think she will be Cyber, but I think she's gonna lead the Cyber Link way.
If you're talking about the trailer with her in the hood, I've already checked back because I got the trailer in HD quality. I went back in Vegas and took there was a part where a little flap of the hood was up. I went to Photoshop and checked if that was skin, and it of course was. It was no cyberized anything. It was actual skin. So it's more so
her mask and her arm piece to why people think that, and I see that. Yeah. But I mean, in the past, they've had masks that look cybernetic. Like, what is it? Sub-Zero's, one of Sub-Zero's masks. It looked kind of like it could be a cyber mask to me. And matter of fact, I think in the Creative Fighter, it was called like a cyber mask.
I mean, even Scarlet's mask kind of looks cyber. In a way,
yeah,
with all the lights and shit. So I mean, I don't think Frost is going to be cyber. I think that's a stupid idea that anybody could ever think of. But yes, if it makes sense story wise why she would want to work Chronica. In gameplay sense, I have a feeling that she's going to have Kombat style gameplay, more rushed down, more aggressive than probably anybody, probably even Liu Kang, probably more aggressive than Liu Kang, and Liu Kang is on a high tier that Brusque Poet probably jizzing his pants over. By the way, love you, Brusque. So yeah, I think Frost is a good choice. Now I do have my problems with 3D era representation, but that's going to be my unpopular opinion. The second one. Peace.
You said that's your unpopular opinion?
No. That it's 3D era characters be like one of my unpopular opinion subjects.
Which, I mean, I feel like we've touched enough on Frost. Nick kind of said that that's all he wanted to say. History behind the Warrior. Is there anything that you kind of want to throw in, or are you ready for the next one?
Well, I think a character like Frost could definitely work. There's a lot of potential. I think she, out of most characters, had the most potential. I do think from a very shallow point of view, she could just be seen as Sub-Zero with tits, but there's much more to a character than just that, and I would like to see more of the venomous side of her personality be explored. I think as a character, as a personality, she's a very interesting personality, especially when it comes to character conflicts with Sub-Zero. You know, it introduces a very interesting student mentor dynamic between the two, which we don't see too much from Sub-Zero. So it's nice to see that be explored. It's just I want to see it be explored in such a way that it's unique and it's interesting. Like, I'd be down for that Cyborg story. That'd be really good. Be a very interesting take on the character, and it would add so much to her that has been missing from her.
Wait, so you're saying like a Cyber Frost, or just her leading the Cyberlink way?
Her leading Cyberlink way. I mean, even the idea of some kind of like cybernetic augmentation on like her arm or something to give her an edge over particular opponents, that's fine. But I wouldn't want her to be like full-on dome head sector kind of thing. That's not how I see Frost.
Everybody is describing the cyber as Takunin. Takunin was Sector's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his shtick.
Yeah.
Whereas I want to see her make her like idea of what the Lin Kuei is. I think her interpretation of what the Lin Kuei should be is far more interesting than her trying to replicate what Sector had done in the past. I think it'd be a very interesting direction for the character, and it would be really, really nice. It would be really nice to see her come into her own.
History. One question.
Fire.
In the old timeline, do you of course know about Noob Saibot and Smokes?
Yeah.
Story.
So you
Do
cut off a
you-
little bit there.
Yeah. Do you know about Noob Smoke's story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think Frost is going to do basically what Noob Smoke was gonna do?
Mm,
Like
it does line
make-
up with it quite well.
and that could go into the Noob. Oh God, this fucking microphone. Frost and Noob working together.
That's why I said that, because honestly,
Yeah.
I was thinking about Noob's old story, which I talked about it in my reaction video, like how he wanted to redo the Cyber Lin Kuei, like a cyber demon Lin Kuei like thing.
Yes.
Yeah, so like him and Frost like running the new Cyber Lin Kuei, that sounds cool to me. To be
Well,
honest, like
also
the original
16
Sub-Zero working with her instead
Yeah.
of like quality, that's cool.
16-bit also did mention with Bihan in general about the interesting dynamic between how he'll be interacting with his brother, how it's like how his brother's going to be functioning with this new idea of the Lin Kuei when he turned, when Kuai Lang turned against the traditions of what the Lin Kuei represented.
Mhm.
Does that sit well with Bihan? Can he sit idly by whilst his brother pretty much goes against what he believed was right?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure if I'd want to see Noob working with Frost, because I think Noob as a character works much better independently as his own force. But
True.
I would be open to the idea of seeing it, as long as like it is interesting. That I think that's the thing. I don't want to sit in the story and go by and watch it like a film and not be surprised. I want to be shocked, and I want to see shit that I didn't think I'd see.
Yeah. And I don't want to veer us off any more than what we already have. I'm trying to bring it back so we can keep on moving. But the last thing I kind of want to just ask you then is, what kind of story relevance you think Noob might have then? Because
Honestly, I think the Noob Saibot we see, I don't think that's our continuity Noob Saibot. I think that's past continuity Noob Saibot.
yeah, that's true.
I don't see. I think he blew up with that Soulnado. That's pretty hard to come back from. The only way I can see it is Elder God's champion, but it's very clear
That's
that
not it.
needs to be it needs to be like a union of the Elder God to choose said champion. And since we don't know if Chronica's an Elder God or not, even though I'm gonna guess she is,
Mhm.
I don't think she could go away doing something like that without people asking questions. It seems very odd. I don't think the Noob is from our timeline. I think it's from a different one. And yeah, I don't know. There's the information on Noob is just, it's so vague right now.
Yeah.
It could be anything. For God's sake, this iteration of Noob Saibot could, I don't know, be like Kuai Lang from another timeline that got turned into
Oh
Noob.
no.
No,
Yeah.
no. After the intro, that's
That's
definitely
some weird,
beyond.
crazy fanfic bullshit. But that's the thing with when you implement an idea as insane as time travel, you open up the idea of a multiverse theory.
Oh no, you're right. Like my brother
Yeah.
kind of like kept trying to like portray, like tell me that he was just like, that like Shao Kahn, like, cause everybody was talking about how Shao Kahn had the spikes and stuff on him. They're like, oh, him and Onaga, and my brother was trying to say like, it could be literally a timeline where Shao Kahn was the host body or something like that. He kept trying to explain to me, even though like if you know about Shao Kahn's like race, like he's Shao Kahn. There's no extra to it, but I mean, yeah, you're right. It could open up so many different multiverses, and like we could be getting characters where things happen completely different, aside from the past and previous timeline. But I think at this point, seeing the old school, new school trailer, that is specifically going to be old timeline, new timeline without the multiverse.
Well, honestly, we just have to wait and see. I mean, for God's sake, none of us really know what's going on with Jax right now.
Oh
like,
yeah,
that's another topic in itself. I know, like I said, it opens up so many insane ideas. It's hard not to acknowledge every possible choice that can be made.
yeah. All right. I guess.
Oh wait, my headset's gone weird. Give me a second, guys. I cannot hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, it was giving me a connection error or some shit like that.
All right. Well, I guess while he gets that together,
there we
Survive.
go. I'm back.
Okay. Survive. What is your second unpopular opinion?
Okay.
And let's not to like kind of pressure on you, but yeah, we're getting to the 2-hour marker, so let's try to.
Okay.
We get off topic a lot. It's fun though.
I feel like Frost should have never been the only 3D character representation in Mortal Kombat 11. I feel like that is pretty bullshit. And not only are we going back to and I keep on saying this, but it is true. We're going back to Mortal Kombat 2 for time at this point. We've had Mortal Kombat 2, we've had Shaolin Monks, we've had 9, and now we're having 11. You know, Mortal Kombat 2 characters are getting shown a lot of fucking recent. And I don't... Here's my deal. When I talked about the classic characters going, I had characters set up for... Now, some of them, of course, not 3D era. And of course, this is going to be a future discussion, but I want the cyborgs back. I feel like it's really shitty to ketchup and mustard and cyborg that we are getting a cyber lab, but no cyborg. If it was up to me, I would bring back Ashra, for the mere fact of the Revenant storyline. If you were able to redo her story and make her relevant to the Mortal Kombat story instead of letting her own shit, it would be amazing.
And I mean, I've talked about that myself in the past, and I definitely agree with you, but I just feel like at this point it's too late. Unless she's in the Mortal Kombat 11 story, I think it's too late, because I feel like the Revenant story is about to come to an end with this.
Oh, and a lot of people I'm saying is going to be female. that's a thing also.
Yeah.
I do want Serena. It is a really, really horrible decision on the roster part to not have Serena on that list. You have Bi-Han and you have Kuai Liang, but you do not have Serena. That is the worst decision you probably could have made. If you're talking about timelines and not having Serena with Noob Saibot, with the infinite possibilities of intro interactions and story mode interactions, I feel like that's pretty bullshit.
I mean, I don't think she's required, but I definitely think it would be nice to have her. I mean, like, we have Noob back, and like we've gotten to the point where her presence is in the story, and this game is going to have a lot of tie-ins and things. Like, there's already a few Sub-Zero mythology tie-ins, so like being able to have Serena talk to Bi-Han finally, like, we were just not getting intros with MK9, like people talking to each other. Now we get to actually see how characters interact with each other. It's like, oh my god, I cannot wait to see Noob Saibot talk to Scorpion. Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for that. But
that's gonna be awesome.
It's like, I want to see Noob talk to Serena. Like, I want to see them talk about Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero mythologies. Like, what do you think now that after all that he's dead? He went to the very bottom planes of the Netherrealm and came back as Noob. Like, what are your thoughts on this? He's like completely evil now. Like, I'm really curious, and I feel like she has potential, and she has story potential. I mean, granted, it's not as big as some, but she has enough to say that it would be a okay idea to have her on the roster, or maybe even as DLC.
Absolutely. And of course, history hates this character, but I fucking hate the comics. Absolutely. For the mere fact that they killed Su Hao in the first 4 pages of the comic. The first thing I read was, oh, hey, by the way, this is still Mortal Kombat, so this is only about blood and gore and shit. So the first 4 pages I see is, oh wow, thanks. We're already getting a fatality in the first 4 pages, and it's that's not what Mortal Kombat is all about.
In the name of Ed Boon.
And here's the thing with killing off Suhao and Movado in canon. What is the point of having the Takeda and Kenshi versus Red Dragon storyline if you have no Red Dragon? Like,
okay.
What's the point of that?
All right, I just throw some things out there real quick. I have no problem with either of them being dead. Like, I know I'm not to come at you or anything. Just like I just did not care for them as characters. I mean, freaking Suhao, for God's sake, looks like a Nazi. Movado was kind of cool. I like the rivalry between him and Cabal, and the fact that he took Cabal's hook swords. But like, I mean, he's redeemable. I feel like he's redeemable. Suhao, on the other hand, not so much. But you definitely make a valid point of how are you gonna have this with the Red Dragon when literally the only Red Dragon left is Dagon, and maybe they could add new characters, but at this point, like, how many are you gonna need to add to give you an actual Red Dragon clan again?
In the comics, I felt like Cobra should have been the owner of the Fight Club. As a small reference, he doesn't need an in-game appearance.
You mean the scene with Cassie and Frost? Yeah.
Yes, I felt like he should have been the owner of just a little nod or hint to them, but no. Apparently, in the canon, he's dead because of Aaron Black, and I feel like that's pretty shitty.
I don't think that's necessarily canon. I think that's just kind of like a.
It needs to be canon. I'm sorry. Let Cobra stay
They
dead.
probably
He's a
they
canon
might they
ripoff.
might. I mean, if they're gonna make something like that canon, they gotta fucking show us that. They can't just say, "Oh yeah, I killed Cobra, man. Fuck that guy."
But see, the
Like,
thing
at least,
is,
like,
I was
give
thinking
him a death in the comics or something.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The comics, because like I feel like maybe Aaron Black was gonna eventually get like an origin story, like how some characters did in the comics, and maybe they were gonna show that.
I think the fact that they didn't get a season 2 really sold the story short.
Well, that's because Sean Kittleson ended up becoming the actual writer for the video game.
Yeah, no, I know that. But
which is why there's going to be comic tie-ins, apparently, from what he's saying.
Yeah, and that's gonna lead in. We're gonna be talking about that in a little bit, so don't worry.
but yeah, and it's pretty that NetherRealm. I mean, I'm not saying NetherRealm. Of course, there are employees that like 3D era characters, but it's really, really, really apparent that they do not give a shit about characters.
Yeah,
I mean,
3D at least.
Killing a majority of the characters, like, okay, most of us has probably grown up in the 3D era.
Not me.
Okay.
With me, I mean, I played them a lot as a kid, so yeah, I guess I know what you mean.
Yeah, I played them, but
like I had more access to them.
I grew up with 2D.
Yeah, like I had them too, but yeah. Anyway, sorry.
There's a difference to me from everybody just absolutely hating all the era characters, but to me, it's like I felt like those were characters that never got to see the light of day, that never got their shine, and it's really shitty that, you know, Mortal Kombat is now and of course, Nickfamous, you're going to talk about story. They're delving more into the multiverse shit when we could have progressed the story and, okay, whoever is left remaining of the 3D era character could have had their time of shine. And now we're going back to Mortal Kombat 2. And I don't even think DLC is going to cover the era characters. I think it's going to cover whoever wasn't in Mortal Kombat 11, that's in Mortal Kombat 2. So I think we're going to see as DLC.
Oh, quick question.
That's going to really piss me off.
Quick question, not to cut you off. What do you mean by we're going back to MK2?
Okay, so Mortal Kombat, it's apparent that Mortal Kombat 11 is back to Kombat 2 side of the plot.
Wait, what do you mean, like story-wise, or just like? 'Cause
Story-wise,
I know.
Yes.
Well, just two things real quick. one, I know they're taking a lot of things from MK2. I know that's like been a very relevant thing that a lot of people have been talking about. But no, story-wise, they're past 4. This is like after MK4. As far as like the main present timeline, not bringing characters back from the past.
Yeah, because Shinnok's like ahead now, so
yeah, what happened to MKX, it was a revision of MK4 of what happened with Shinnok. Like that first chapter of Johnny, that was MK4 but redone, and then the rest of MKX is the aftermath.
I know that Mortal Kombat X is 4. I'm just saying, like, if it is true that Chronica's allowed to bring in one era of characters, it's pretty apparent that it is Mortal Kombat 2, because we've gotten Jade, we've gotten I mean, Jade is Mortal Kombat 3, but
no, like I see what you're saying. Like a lot of them seem like they're from MK2 era.
Shang Tsung, Kitana, Jax, Baraka, Scorpion, Raiden, Johnny, Kung Lao, and Liu Kang. The only ones that aren't in Mortal Kombat 2 are Reptile and Mileena.
Yep. And
those are characters that people, we have said, like, we don't want in there. But I have a high possibility that they will be DLC.
I think that at least one of those two
Reptile
would definitely be
sure, yeah.
One of those would definitely be a secret character, and the other one might be DLC. Reptile is going to be in. I just feel like that's definitely. Reptile has only not been in one game of all 11 games. Well, I forgot to count DC. Is he in Mortal Kombat vs. DC?
No, he's not in DC.
Yeah, I don't like to count that game, but from the real story-heavy games, it's only one. Yeah.
But okay, so like, as you said before earlier in this live stream, you have said that Mortal Kombat X had a perfect balance of everything, new, old, and even 3D era characters. It was nice to see Tanya again. It was nice to see, even though she wasn't in, it was nice to see Serena.
Yeah.
And Li Mei in the story mode. And it's like, I've been waiting 8 years for these characters. And that sounds like, well, Brian, that's when Kombat 9 started. Once I got finished with the Mortal Kombat 9 story, I wanted to see the 3D era characters already. And they, of course, Mortal Kombat X did 4, but they did have some of the 3D era characters. And I was like, okay, I'm fine with this. So awesome. They're going to progress the story, and then we're going to actually get 3D era characters again. And we're going to see them revamped. We're going to see them have their stories changes, their costume changes. And now we're going to Multiverse. The most unoriginal thing ever. We're basically going to Injustice now. I mean,
pretty much.
I don't know. I want more representation, and I feel like Ross being the only representation, it really kills it for me.
I mean, I don't blame you.
Couldn't agree more, buddy.
I like Frost, but I also don't think she should have been the only 3D era character. But I don't think that should take away from the fact that she is the only 3D era character. But at the same time, they really could have did more. Like, I see where they're going with the story, though. I understand why there's so many classic, because they're trying to do the whole old school versus new school thing. Have some of the characters like Cassie and Jackie meet their parents back in their golden days. Like, so it's just, I understand where they're going, but it's just, man, they really portray the idea of hating their 3D era characters. Like, I swear, man, if I go to Combo Breaker and I get even the slightest chance to talk to Ed Boon, I'm gonna ask, can I interview him? I have got to ask some certain. I got to ask certain questions, like why do you? Oh no, we're going to have a reveal at Combo Breaker. That's why I'm hype about it. But yeah, that's going to happen.
Like, that's why I'm so excited to go. I'm not gonna lie. Like, oh, just the thought of a reveal being there.
Yeah,
that's gonna be hype.
We're probably gonna get, like, if we don't, I honestly think Fighter Pack 1's gonna be shown there. That's why they went ahead and showed off Shang Tsung ahead of time. No, I mean, like, not gonna say no, they might show the entire Fighter Pack 1, actually. I really do believe that. I mean, they showed off the whole Fighter I'm saying Fighter Pack, Combat Pack. They showed off the whole Combat Pack 1 for MKX and one trailer. So I feel like they're going to probably do the same thing at Combat Breaker this year. But let's get back into topic
Yeah.
though. No, that's my fault. But yeah, I agree with you though with the 3D era characters. They definitely could have added more, and hopefully we get that with DLC. But the way Ed Boon's talking with classic characters, I feel like Combat Pack 1 is definitely gonna be classic characters plus 2 guests.
And let me also say this: I don't hate any 3D era characters. In my honest opinion, every 3D character, and yes, even the shitty, like people say, Suhao, everybody can be redeemed. Here's a quote that I've heard before, but I don't know where I've gotten it. A bad artist will always look at something and throw it away. A good artist will always look at some, see what they could salvage from it, and make it into some brand new. And that is one of the most perfect quotes for any 3D character ever.
I fucks with that.
I pretty much agree with that. I think most of the 3D characters could be saved, like majority of them.
No, I agree. They all can be saved. Just some of them, like Mocap.
Yeah.
That
They could be saved if they put their heart and soul into it.
Mocap should have
Will
been
they?
body.
No.
Mocap, no. Meat, no. But maybe it's a funny premiere skin for everybody. Like let them have like a fleshy skin. But like characters like those, I feel like they were just thrown in for jokes, like shits and giggles. So it's just like, do they really need to return? But for the most part, no. I mean, I agree. Any of them can be redone. Even Suhao. I don't care for Suhao. I'll probably say he's at the bottom of my list, along with probably like Dairu, because Dairu is probably the most forgettable MK character of every single MK character, if you ask me.
He
But-
is. Yeah, I forget about him on the constant.
Like,
oh my god! Until I play the 3D games, I'm like, oh shit, he was a character.
exactly. Like
He's so like
the most
he's got
forgettable.
nothing to him.
I mean, he plays relevance to the whole Order realm, but I mean, I'm not gonna get into that. Just he's forgettable shit.
Yeah, but I didn't think he had anything memorable.
No, not at all whatsoever. That's why he is the most forgettable character. Like,
Absolutely.
Like, truth be told, like I'm okay with them killing people off in the comics if they make it kind of like more relevant or kind of like specify a little bit more. Like, I mean, granted, Suhao, I don't care for him, but damn, boy, they did him dirty. But like, it's just that, like, for instance, with the Order Realm characters, I would have no problem with them killing every last single one of them off except for Hotaru. Because truth be told, Dairu and Darius, they're really not relevant to the story at all. They're just people to fuck with. They're people for Shujinko to talk to, and whatchamacallit, the Deception, and people that gave Hotaru more relevance. But I mean, that's just me. I definitely think that there should have been more. Some, not exactly all, except for like the 2 that I named are redeemable. But whether or not NetherRealm Studios will actually do it, that's the problem. But anybody else have anything to say on the topic before we move on? Take that as a no. Okay, so I'm gonna say my second one, and after this, I guess we're gonna kind of like rapid fire all of our last ones, which my last one's gonna be the one to piss off a lot of people. But as for my second unpopular opinion, I think rap fits Mortal Kombat, and I know a lot of people have been upset about some of the rap being in the trailer. Like, there has been people saying what? Like, if you go to the comment sections of like these trailers, there's always people. Oh gosh, they brought back rap. They da 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 da. And I'm just like,
that's all people were saying. I remember that's all I saw. I'm like, we just got a Mortal Kombat trailer. You're bitching about the song.
Exactly. Like, it's not even that serious to me. But I just feel like, of all fighting games that there are, like, I couldn't see rap on like as a Street Fighter trailer. Anyway. I couldn't. But like, it fits Mortal Kombat to me, and obviously the creators agree because they keep bringing it back. And I'm not saying that like other genres don't fit. Like, for instance, Mortal Kombat X, when they did the launch trailer with Chop Suey, I freaking love that. Is my favorite trailer from Mortal Kombat X.
Dude, like that's the thing. Like, Mortal Kombat is such a badass like game that it literally could fit any hardcore kind of like, whether it be rap, metal, rock, like anything fits the bill. But I have to agree with you. There's just a certain element about the rap music that just makes it look so smooth, like the combos and everything. I really enjoyed it.
Exactly, like the level of finesse. If I had to like kind of like put it,
mean.
like the level of finesse that rap has with like how they do these combos or these badass scenes, like it fits. And I just don't get why so many people get upset. Like, okay, you might not like rap. It's not for everybody. Some people like the only genre of music I don't care for is country. I will listen to anything under the sun.
My man.
I can agree.
I'd rather listen to classical music than country.
Exactly.
Like Beethoven, I'm talking. Beethoven.
like
Same. After being in ISS a lot in middle school and having to listen to classical music, like I will take that over country. Like it's the only genre I would not listen to. But it's just like I just don't get that. Like if you don't like rap, you don't like rap. But to just really just shit on it and just like they should not be rap music in a Mortal Kombat. Like come on. Like
I think there's a difference.
Let me say a difference real quick. I did not like the Mortal Kombat 11 not because it's rap, but for the mere fact that if you listen behind the lyrics,
Sir 21 Savage.
It's 21 Savage talking about using guns in a sword fight. Now, if you go back to Mortal Kombat X's reveal trailer, it was Wiz Khalifa.
Mm-hmm.
In the context of the lyrics, it makes sense with the song.
Mm-hmm.
But with 21 Savage, it's like, put a hole in ya, and I'm like, what? I don't have a problem with rap. Like, it's just the context of it. Of the song that Ice Cube makes perfect sense.
I mean,
in a Mortal
I
Kombat
guess
song.
I agree. Like when I first heard the reveal trailer for MK11, I was immediately thinking to myself like, okay, first off, what he's saying kind of doesn't like go with the fight, just because like I was something when I slid in with your boot thing, and I was like, okay, why are we talking about boot things in the middle of this intense fight? So it's just like, I mean,
it's all about context.
MKX Wiz Khalifa, I love that song. Like I would defend that song. Like it fit. They should have released it. I was looking for it everywhere.
I know they never released that one, and they never released 21s either.
Yeah, and like the 21, it grew on me, but it's not even the lyrics. It's just more so I like the song in general, like the instrumentals. Like it, I don't pay the lyrics any attention, to be honest with you. But
now here's the thing about Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat really has never had a defining genre.
It has not.
If you really think about it, it's had techno before. It's had heavy metal. It's had rock. I mean, anything basically except for country. It's had hip hop. There is a difference between hip hop and rap. Now, it's had basically everything except for country.
Oh god, the day we get an Aaron Black trailer with the country playing in the background.
I want a spaghetti western. I want the good, the bad, and the ugly in his trailer right fucking now. If I don't get the good, the bad, and the ugly in his trailer, I'm gonna be pissed.
Oh my gosh, I would not be against it at all. To be honest with you, like I want a good laugh, but
please. But yeah, it's I don't have a problem with rap. It's all about context. If the lyrics go along with the battle, I don't give a shit.
No, I agree with you.
Put a hole in you for that. I'm like, okay.
I mean,
maybe if it was Sonya, maybe.
Holes are being put in place. Like somebody just said it in the chat. I'm trying to figure out where they were. He said the gun talk threw it off, but holes in you make sense. Yeah, the holes in you make sense. The gun thing for that fight there didn't make sense. It's because we're talking Raiden.
Raiden just pulls out a Glock.
Like imagine Raiden when he
I'm
kicked.
a badass now, man. I carry it.
No. Imagine when
Which
Scorpion.
realm you come to, boy.
Oh my gosh! Like no. Imagine if when Raiden killed Scorpion, the second Scorpion that came out there had a gun and just shot Raiden down.
Bam. Shot dead.
You gonna fuck up with my
Fatality.
homie? Pop, 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 pop. Oh my gosh. But I see the general consensus. We agree then.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in agreement in here.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to everybody's final unpopular opinion. Then we're gonna take some from the chat, but we're gonna try to shoot through these a little bit just because we're approaching
fast, boys.
we're Sonic fast. We're approaching the 2-hour marker, so I mean, I know
gotta hit the hyperspace.
I know that this is gonna be everybody's big one, so let's I do want to talk about it, but let's try to keep it condensed. But go ahead and kick us off, History Behind the Word, with your final unpopular opinion.
Oh, you sure about this one?
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm ready for fire. I'm ready for the fire too.
I'm still not recovered from his Raiden one.
As Jax would say, bring it.
That was
All right.
gold.
All right. Yeah. I'm glad that we're not getting many of the 3D back because I fucking hate a majority of them. Yeah, that's the bombshell.
All right, folks, get your knives, get your guns. We're about to jump this man.
Complete opposite direction. I think the games are great in the sense they expanded the lore, but God, there's some really half-assed, half-cooked ideas.
Okay.
And that
go ahead and
Exactly.
shoot your ideas. Get to the bare bones and tell us exactly why you hate them, just so we can kind of approach this from a certain angle.
Okay, now, I'm not saying I hate the 3D era of characters. I'm saying I really hate this game. No, I think that they're half-baked, half-cooked ideas that I'm not even going to say on paper do well, because I mean, you know when you go to a pound shop and then you find the shitty £1 version of a Coca-Cola? That's what Su Hao is. He's the shitty £1 version of a Kano. He's literally slap together, slap bang, DIY, make yourself a Kano. And I find that with a lot of other characters that I feel like with the 3D characters, I think that's where the interpretation of a new generation of characters was being introduced. And I think that in itself is interesting. I think the execution is awful. I do not like how they tried to pass the mantle down in such an aggressive way as well. What an aggressive fucking way. Killing off your previous characters to forcibly make new characters to pick up those mantles. And then when you receive backlash, you create Armageddon to put everyone into one spot. That is my problem with it.
And no, go ahead and finish.
I will agree.
Hold on. Wait, were you going to say some more? Or
well, I know that there's so much there's so much to say about each individual character, but I'd be here all day with my problems with them. That's
why
the
this
thing.
needs to be a series now.
Actually,
just history rants.
That would be so funny. Oh my god,
that's the thing.
I would watch it.
Yeah, you mean you guys can enjoy the characters? I'm perfectly fine with that. Everyone's open to enjoying those characters, but as am I to not enjoying those characters, and I do not like that era of characters. Okay. I just feel like there's so much missing, and I feel like the core of who they could be is so hollow compared to the characters we had before. Because say what you will about the new generation of characters, at least they have fucking character.
Yeah.
What's Su Hao's character?
A Nazi.
Mongolian Kano.
A Nazi. Chinese Nazi.
That's the problem. There's the characters of that era feel so hollow, so hollow, and it's not just their fault for their poor designs and ideas, but the fact that these characters were forced to fill in roles after Liu Kang and all those characters were killed off is unfair on them. That is unfair on them. But it's a shitty situation for those characters, and it's a shitty situation for the writing. It doesn't balance out, and it benefits essentially no one. That's why the best choice they ever did was an MK9, where they rebooted the timeline. They erased a bunch of shit off their plate because they realized that in hindsight, those characters were made in situations that didn't benefit anyone. That's why I'm perfectly fine with those characters being killed. Not that dying in the Mortal Kombat universe has ever really meant anything in the first place.
Whatsoever.
Exactly. So it's fine with those characters being killed off. But I am much happier with having characters that are well developed, at least have character to them, at least have ties that work with the universe, instead of just saying, here's Movado. He beat up Cabal that one time and has his hook swords. Now Cabal is evil. Like, that's the problem. You see what I mean? By some of the ideas seem quite hot. And it's like, it's not their fault. It's ultimately the writing. But it's putting them in roles that they've been thrown into that are underdeveloped and just that's the only way I can put it. Just that it's different styles of storytelling, it's different ways of showing a character. It's the evolution of how we've come from that generation to this generation. So understandably, you're able to adapt so much more now than you did back then. But again, it comes down to the writing. And I gotta say, like, some of those character designs and ideas we had from the 3D era either went from pretty damn sweet to, wow, this looks like the shit stain on the toilet that won't go away. that is the problem, and I feel like there's no in between point. So that's my stance. I don't like the 3D era of characters. The games I do like for their own purposes with the lore. Like, it's fine if you do like those games. I'm not going to take anything away from you. Don't let my opinion dwindle your love for those games. That's all. At all. Don't let me do that. But it's my own. I don't like what was done with them. I think it's unfair with how they were handled. And
so I have a question about all that. Would you be open to the idea of them returning if it meant like being kind of revamped?
Oh, 110%. Revamp them from the fucking ground up.
I absolutely agree with you.
Revamp them. Revamp them.
Like, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like why I wanted to piggyback on what you were saying. One, while I do like a lot of the 3D era characters, you are right. They were half-baked as shit. Like, they just half-pitched an idea and just threw it out there and just shipped it. And I feel like they were also pressured during that time, though, just because I remember, like, watching some old videos talking about, like, the making of some of these games and, like, kind of, like, what was going through some of their minds at the time. And I know that the reason why they even went into a 3D era is because they felt pressure because at the time 3D era fighting games were like the big thing, and they talked about how they wanted to transition into that and kind of get in there, but then they just, like, as you said, the execution was just terrible. Like, you just threw out ideas just to throw out ideas for the sake of it. And like, yeah, like the whole new generation of characters now, let's kill off these characters and introduce half-baked ass characters, which is why a lot of 3D era characters are hated. Like, I remember watching a video of him talking about why Natara was a character, and he, like, Edmund was just like, we've never done a vampire character before, let's do a vampire character. But then, like, you just did a character just for the sake of doing a character. Like, don't get me wrong, yes, okay, vampire character sounds cool, I like Natara, but at the same time, no story relevance whatsoever. Like, you literally just said, let's make a vampire character, throw some wings on her, throw it into the game. No relevance whatsoever, just she's there because she's a vampire. Like,
she serves as more of a gimmick than a character.
Yeah,
that's not what she should be.
History agree on. Even though I'm the biggest fan of 3D era characters ever, I will agree to that they were all half baked, and they do need a second chance.
But
that's why I got pissed so much at the comics, for the mere fact that, oh, hey, let's just kill characters just because we can. No, that's not how you write characters. That's how you get a problem out of the way and not thinking about, because, like, they killed off classic characters in Mortal Kombat 9, but they didn't understand. They wanted to be edgy and did not understand the consequence of killing off those characters for a future storyline.
Yeah, I mean,
and now we have the Revenants.
But I feel like where the real issue came in, though, with the 3D era was somewhat Deadly Alliance, because even with the hate for the 3D era characters, there's at least 3 characters from 3D era 3D era that we can agree was actually good, and that's Quan Chi, Kenshi, and Shinnok. Like, MK4 started off the 3D era. I mean, granted, it wasn't as 3D as the earlier games, but it's the 3D era, and those characters were good. And then as far as Deadly Alliance go, we got Kenshi. and he's a good 3D era character. So it's just like, I just feel like they blew out of like, they ran out of steam, kind of like with Deadly Alliance a little bit. Kenshi was just like that.
They dropped the ball.
Exactly, and Deception's where things just really got fucked up. Because it's like Deadly Alliance fucked up everything. And it's like, oh my god, we gotta try to hurry and fix this. Let's bring Liu Kang back. Let's make him a zombie now. Let's throw in some more 3D era characters and see if they'll like these characters better than the previous characters. But they turned out to be shit too. So then we get to Armageddon, and it's just like exactly. And then we get to Armageddon. It's just like, let's just bring everybody back and make everybody happy.
I can't disagree in any way possible. I think History Behind the Warrior pretty much. Like, I think I have the same opinion, essentially. Like, I don't, like, not a lot of the 3D era characters stand out to me, aside from who you mentioned, Ronin.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kenshi and Shinnok and Quan Chi and Tanya and that kind of a bunch. But
notice they're all MK4 for the most part,
that's
except
right,
for Kenshi.
exactly. Yeah, so it's like they really are just, like, and to even call them a character, I think, is wrong, because it's like half of them don't even really have personality or character or like anything to them. They're just a design. Yeah, they're just a design who can fight, like that, like a model. Like, they don't even really have a character to them. So I think it's wasted potential. Like, good concept, poor execution. So I think that they definitely are terrible in the stance that they are, and that kind of follows off of the whole Frost discussion. Like, in my opinion, she was one of the horrible 3D era characters, but like you said, they could easily fix her and make her a good character who stands out from Sub-Zero 100%. So I'm hoping that they do that and finally change my opinion on her, and then I can just focus on hating Sin.
No, I agree with you, man. Like, pretty much, yeah, History Behind the World, you hit it on the net with everybody. Like, they just half-baked everything, and it could be, I mean, there's potential still there with certain characters. Like, Fujin wasn't one of those characters I named, because, like, literally he was only in 2 games. But at the same time, though, there's still story potential there. They gave enough in his bios to at least create a story from it. And that's certain characters. That's not the characters that I named. Like, some of them can come back because of story relevance. But it's just...
I mean, the thing is with me and, like, the whole 3D era of games, I'm not one of those people that I hate the 3D era because it's cool to hate on. I have my reason for why I dislike that era, and there's a lot of problems as to why I think that era of games have a lot of fundamental problems. I mean, even the conquest modes, as amazing as they were, had really, really flawed problems.
No,
and
agree.
like, for example, Shevchenko, least exciting protagonist ever.
Oh gosh, like
ever. Biggest yes man to grace a video game.
He's
Jesus
fucking
Christ.
retarded. Like, I know a lot of people like Shujinko.
Hey, that's offensive to mentally handicapped people.
That is. I'm sorry.
Sorry, mortally challenged.
Just
I mean, not like that, but
literally, he follows everything that whatever was it? I can't think of his name. I'm thinking of Kamidogu, but that isn't it. That's an amulet. Damashi, that's his name. He follows everything Damashi says without a second question. Doesn't bother challenging what he says, and although it explores the realms, which is a great touch, they basically cut off the end of that game by saying we kind of ran out of budget, so play through the arcade. that will get you the answer, which is a problem. And then we had the conquest mode for Armageddon, which is non-canon, and on top of that, it is very linear, very, very linear.
very.
So that's my problems with the 3D games, and of course I've just mentioned the roster and my problems with those characters. Yeah, I like I said, I don't hate it because it's cool, but I feel like those era of games have a lot of fundamental flaws with them. I think that a lot. I can't say that I think a lot of those characters can be saved. Honestly, I think some of those characters they've had their time. It's time to introduce a new generation of characters. Let's move on from that.
Okay, quickly before we go on to the next topic, if you could name 3 redeemable 3D era characters, who would you name?
Do comics count?
Do comics count? Yeah.
Okay, so I can mention the characters from the comics in game.
Yeah, you can mention characters from comics,
All
even
right.
if they died. Yeah.
All right, Reiko, Havoc, Kataru. Done. You've already got a really cool plot line between the Chaos Realm and the Order Realm. Sword.
And I agree with you. All three of them, I think, are redeemable. Because honestly, like I still have it like on the back burner for like a discussion for all of us to do. Because I really want to talk about like the title I have for it is The Fate of the Realms. Because I really want to talk about like the other realms. Because at this point, it's still we're getting like regurgitation of Outworld, Earthrealm, Netherrealm, over and over again. And I'm just like, there's literally Adenia is supposed to have gotten split and away from Outworld by now, story-wise in the last timeline, and there's still chaos and order. So it's just like, are they gonna return? Like, are we gonna actually get to see stuff from them?
Zatera.
Yeah, heck, even
we also
Zatera.
got the vampire realm. We also
I don't
have,
think we'll
the
ever see
Green realm.
Zatera.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Zatera, but I would like them to pick up female Chameleon and play on that idea that they had like started up with her ending from Armageddon. Give Reptile a little bit more relevance, if anything. But yeah. All right. Let's go on to Nick. Nick, what's your last topic or unpopular opinion?
All right. So this one, I'm gonna need to explain myself properly before I come across like the wrong way. So the comics. It's the Mortal Kombat X comics. That's what my unpopular opinion is about. Now, before I say exactly what the opinion is, I just would like to say that I loved the comics. I enjoyed them back when they came out. I bought them all digitally and read them all on my little iPhone. I was keeping up to date with it. It was all hype before Mortal Kombat X came out. I think they are some of the best written Mortal Kombat story that there is. I think Sean Kittleson did an amazing job. No hate towards him or anything. And I did enjoy them, and like I said, I bought them. I have physical, but I don't think they should be canon. That is just my opinion on it. I found there were a lot of inconsistencies, and that's not entirely Sean Kittleson's fault. I feel like NetherRealm Studios gave DC and the writing team very limited information. There's a lot of inconsistencies. Like one that comes to mind is Cassie and Jackie travel to Outworld in the comics. However, in Mortal Kombat X story mode, they travel to Outworld and they act like they've never been there before. So that is just a minor inconsistency, but there were multiple things like that, and just different things like that never really got played on in the story. So like Cassie and Frost. In the comics, I thought there might be some sort of a rivalry. We never even saw them interact in the Mortal Kombat X story. So I feel like it could have been executed a lot better. I just wish that Ed Boon and the team would have maybe even given him like an early rendition of the story or something. I really can kind of assume that based off of the inconsistencies, he didn't have much information. Like he kind of just did his own thing, and he did a phenomenal job. And I think he did the best that anybody could have done. But I just think that it's going to take a lot of covering up in Mortal Kombat 11 story to make them canon. But I don't know. I again, no hate to comics. I love them, but I just think it would make the story a lot less convoluted and a lot easier if they weren't canon.
Yeah, and
that's all.
Honestly, I
know you've done a video about that, and I'm not trying to discredit any of that because I know you feel strongly about that. But
yeah, and
I just think it would make it easier for the storytelling sense.
And the thing is, even with that all being said, like with me loving the comics and all that, like I agree with you. Like aside from the fact that you said the comics aren't canon, like I mean, at this point he's already said that they are canon, and I know you said you just don't want them to be canon. Yeah. I just don't. Yeah, I'd rather them not be canon. But to clarify, they are most certainly canon, and they are gonna elaborate on it in MK11. I think like they're gonna that's what
try to retcon it a bit better. So that's good, but that's the problem with me is I feel like it should have been retconned into Mortal Kombat X since they're Mortal Kombat X comics, you know. But again, that's just minor.
And it's just like you were saying, like there definitely was a lot of miscommunication, I think, with the story, and that's why there's so many plot holes in it. But at the same point, like I mean, not to self-advertise, but in the video that I had made, even with all the plot holes, there's so many connections from Mortal Kombat X story to the comics. Like there's tons of them to the point where you just can't deny those connections whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Like,
all I meant with the Frost comment was sort of I wish they would have went more in depth. Like I wish they really would have been like a promotional comic, you know, sort of like tie right in. So if you read the comics, it would have been a true experience. Like it would have made the experience more enjoyable. Whereas I felt like the comics were sort of just like a little thing on the side.
Yeah, and no, I agree with you. I really wish there would have been more things there, but like that's why MK11. I'm kind of looking forward to it because like Frost is in the game. I want to see if she's gonna have intros with Cassie, and
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean. That's what I'm thinking they're gonna elaborate more on, which is really awesome to me.
yeah, and that's why I appreciated when Sean Kittleson had put out that tweet saying that like the comics are canon. You're gonna see this in MK11. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's gonna be something fun to look forward to. But going back to what you said, like, yeah, they should have did more in the MKX story, and I feel like with the lack of communication, I feel like it's amazing that there was such a lack of communication when I think that most of this game's story was probably already written out because the comics are still going on past the game's release.
Yeah,
so, like,
exactly.
It's kind of crazy that he didn't, and then they didn't touch on enough. Like, well, no, they touch on a lot. There's, like I said, there's a lot of connections, but it's just
I
like
know what
certain,
you're saying, though.
yeah, like certain things
They
from
could
the
have
comics.
they could have executed it better.
Exactly.
It just
And-
seems like a huge lack of communication. That seems to be the major issue with.
And that's why it really, really made me want there to be the first story DLC in MKX. I really wanted to see like a MKX
I
comic
know,
story
dude.
DLC. Like it,
Dude,
adding the
wish.
characters along with like a side story. Like if we
yeah,
would have
and
got
they all
like
have, like
Reiko.
a comic costume or something.
Exactly.
That would've been
oh my
awesome,
god, that would have
dude.
been the best deal. Like I said that, like I know a lot of people. What were we talking about? It was back when after Kombat Pack 2 came out, and everybody was like talking about Kombat Pack 3. I was like, honestly, as much as I want Kombat Pack 3, I would take story DLC over Kombat Pack 3
Same.
any day.
Absolutely, dude. I was
like-
saying that too. I really just wanted some form of more extended story.
And
And
like,
I hope maybe they do that in Mortal Kombat 11. Maybe that they could do is like, even if it's like a side plot of some sort, it would be interesting, and I'm sure any Mortal Kombat fan would buy it.
be cool if we got like a little Shaolin Monk side thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Something like to like just cater to that little fan base that really wants a Shaolin Monks too and stuff like that.
That would be so great. But I mean,
Aw.
just going on to what you said, like they could have definitely did a lot better with the communication, and then we would have got like a story DLC. Like, gosh, could you have imagined like we got 4 story characters along with the story? Like, say we got Havoc, Reiko, Scarlet would have been good at the time,
Yeah,
and then maybe Shiva. Like,
Yeah,
those 4
someone like that.
characters probably. I can't think of any other characters that probably would have been more relevant to this comic story, but. No, you're completely right. I love the comics. I do believe that there are canon. Well, they're confirmed canon at this point, but
yeah, absolutely.
there's a lot of issues with that. A lot of like issues with how the story lines up. But even that being said, there's so many connections to the point where you can't deny it. And
Absolutely.
I just hope that with them saying that they're going to fix it up in MK11, that they definitely, it's definitely worth the wait in a way. If you get what I'm saying, like it's going to be done right.
Like, put it this way, I want there to be certain things in the Mortal Kombat 11 story that if you didn't read the Mortal Kombat X comics, you're gonna be like, what the fuck are they talking about? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But it's like a reference to the comics, so it'll feel like a reward to those who actually read them.
And that's like why like I can't wait to see the Cassie Frost intros, just because like
Agreed.
I want to hear that, like I want that rematch or something like that.
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
want to see this. Like, why did
I'd
you
be
spare
down
my
for that.
life, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, exactly.
But
That's pretty much, that's just how I feel about it.
nah, like I agree with why you feel that way though. But
Yeah, man, for sure.
History Behind the Warrior and Survive. Do y'all have any kind of thoughts as far as the comics?
Not connected to comics, but yeah.
I really like the comics, but Jesus Christ, is there like continuity whack as hell? Like, it is like I can look
That's
past
around
it because I really enjoy it, but my word, does it just clash with the game? That's my main problem with it. I can definitely look past it because I enjoy it enough to look past the errors of and inconsistencies that the comics do present. But man, it's just really, really weird. Really, really weird. Overall, I do want the comics to remain canon, but I want them to definitely bloody like give us some proper explanation of what's going on, the inconsistencies that's been going on with that, and how it works. Like, because there's some stuff that needs to be answered, honestly.
Survive.
Oh god.
Not really any input. I mean, there are great stories. I just with the killing of some of the characters, like like Kentaru. That was kind of shitty to watch him get his head ripped off by Sonya. And
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
Kentaro is like my favorite Shokan, and the only reason I was able to get over it was just the simple fact that Goro's variations kind of ruined the idea of Kentaro. The fact that Goro could like do all the fire stuff. I mean, to me, I feel like that's kind of like what made them different. Granted, Goro could always do fire stuff. Like, he didn't really do anything fire though in the previous games. He like shot a little green ball, but they had such a heavy focus fire variation for him, and to me that was like the biggest difference between him and Kentaro. And the fact that they explain in the comics how the Tigrar race of Shokans, which is what Kentaro is much weaker than the Draco race of Shokans, which is what Shiva and Goro is. It just made me, as much as I love Kentaro, and like I said, he's my favorite Shokan, it made sense to kind of kill him off. Like, there's no point in having him when you have those two.
Yeah, I mean, the comics are good. It is NRS 101 to have fucking inconsistent. I mean, in the comics, Scarecrow is dead, but here he is in Injustice 2.
Yeah.
it's yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I can enjoy the comics, just some of the things that they've done. I probably can't forgive the comics for. Especially killing like that.
Yeah, I mean, it does suck. It's just that's part of why I wish they would explain more in the MKX story. Like, do like at least a flashback would have been good. But all right, let's go ahead and move on to your last unpopular opinion. Survive. What you got for us?
I hate Mortal Kombat's new timeline probably more than the old timeline. And I will most likely hate Mortal Kombat 11's story.
Okay, so elaborate.
Now, before I explain, I will not deny that there is a lot of work that is being put into the story mode. NetherRealm has shown that they are the leading force into putting story modes within fighting games. There's no doubt about that. They have made story modes in fighting games relevant. You know, now every game's getting a story mode. Dead or Alive, you got Tekken having it. Street Fighter V just put their story mode in as free DLC. You know, but my problem is that Mortal Kombat 11 is okay. Hold up. Let me explain why I don't like 9 and X. 9, a lot of killing of the classic characters that was actually really uncalled for. Of course, with the Sindel thing. But I made the joke about Raiden killing Liu Kang and having the thing like, at this moment, he knew he fucked up. Now, the deal with the original timeline, why I liked it so much, is because in the original timeline, Liu Kang won 4 consecutive times against Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn twice, and Shinnok. By the time of Deadly Alliance, they offed him. That's when they realized, like, and at that point, Earthrealm kept on losing. You know, there was actual risk within that, you know. And, of course, Deception Raiden, quote-unquote, dying until becoming Dark Raiden. But, you know, with Liu Kang dead, it really changed the course of, you know, the original timeline. You know, it felt like our most powerful, you know, warrior is gone. But in the new timeline, it's like, in the new timeline, Raiden kills Liu Kang. Okay. And then Shinnok has Liu Kang by his side. But they still lose. You're telling me we have two-time winner or two-time Mortal Kombat winner Liu Kang, and also 7 other Revenant, not including Jade, and you still couldn't beat the Earthrealm forces. Basically, G.I. Joe 2.0. Okay, and that's actually what I hate most about Mortal Kombat X's story, is that it's just G.I. Joe 2.0. I mean, the most interesting aspect about Mortal Kombat's story was Scorpion and Sub-Zero's alliance. To me, that was the only redeeming factor. And I have a feeling that they're gonna fuck that up with Mortal Kombat 11. And if they make Scorpion and Kuai Liang enemies again, I'm legitimately going to be pissed.
There was a clip that came out from the what the hell was it? It was some event. Yeah, that one. And it showed Scorpion and Sub-Zero fighting.
Yeah, I know.
think it was the so I think
the Cyber Lab.
Yeah,
but
I think
I'm saying like since you're bringing back old timeline, there's still that chance of bringing.
Well, I mean, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I guess Scorpion like wanting to fight new Sub-Zero or vice versa or whatever. You know what I mean? But I mean, other than that, I think our timeline, Hanzo and Kuai Liang will probably stay alive, and unless.
Oh, God, I really hope so. But
like you said, it's one of the best elements that MKX had going.
With the disappointment of X, I'm ready to face anything really. I mean, and here's the thing. It's also for the fact that they kind of fucked up in 9 and X. So their only way to get out of it isn't to progress the story, but to start over again. I'm tired of starting over. Like,
it's not so much start over though, other than like let's put this plot out there so we can fix things we fucked up with.
I'd rather truck through and say, okay, yeah, we fucked up, but here's this new storylines. I do want to see Order Realm and Chaos Realm. I want to see that. I don't want to see Outworld and Earth Realm and Nether Realm fight again for the God knows how many games. I'm tired of that. I keep hearing. And that's why I don't like seeing that. I want to. I wish Earthrealm would lose. I really did. I wanted Shinnok to win so badly in Mortal Kombat X. He had the most powerful fighters, and he should have won. I don't give a shit about Cassie's powers. That is power level bullshit. Shinnok should have won, and I wanted to see the outcome.
I can't wait for that.
And how the Earthrealm is just scrambling about with all the people that they've lost. Say that Jax would have died. Say that maybe Kung Jin, maybe Jackie might have died. You know, say if they did, and I know this is going to be very unpopular, but the unpopular edition episode. Say if they killed Johnny Cage, but they foreshadowed it in the beginning, but Raiden wasn't there to save him. Dude, people's minds would be fucking exploding.
Yeah,
and it would bring an incentive of a new story. Oh dear God, I just want something new. I have.
Don't worry, we've got time travel now. Again.
Hold up. Yeah, I know. And I have a feeling that all of our favorite characters who is on the side with Chronica or is a bad guy will be a jobber.
Oh, I mean,
we've seen it. We've seen it with Aaron. We've seen it with Ferritor. We've seen it with Reptile. We've seen it with Ermac. Do I need to say more? I think that Noob is going to be a jobber. I think Frost is going to be a jobber. I think Garrus is going to be a jobber. I think.
Oh yeah. Oh, he gets iced in the trailer.
Exactly.
He ain't gonna do shit.
I don't want this anymore. I'm sick and tired of playing through the same shit over and over again. I want the story to progress. Instead of like, oh, hey, let's just bring these characters back for the 50th fucking time. And when I said that I have a disdain for Sonya Jackson, Kano, we've even seen them in Mortal Kombat vs. DCU. I mean, come on now. Even the game that everybody doesn't like, they're even in that game.
Dude, that was the best Mortal Kombat game to date. What are you talking about?
I'm not gonna lie.
Dark
I like that
Dawn,
game
best
for the
Mortal
sole
Kombat
reason that's the perfect example of how not to make a Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I'm not gonna lie, it's actually a guilty pleasure for me, but it's.
I had fun with it in its time, but only because I knew how laughable it was. You know.
I'm not gonna
Like, I
lie.
wasn't playing it- I
I
wasn't
even
playing-
hated it as a kid.
I don't know. I enjoyed it for a bit, but I can't say I put as much time into MK versus DC as I have in other Mortal Kombat games.
Yeah.
But in the end, I think with what I know about NetherRealm's writing style, what I know about the characters that they're bringing into the game, I know how fighting games are, and it's. I mean, it doesn't make me happy saying that I have no. But god damn it, someone has to have that idea. And I mean, I'm not as, unfaithful than Fourth Snake, because he has some he definitely hates it. I mean, at least I'm willing to throw them the bone. I'm willing to give them that chance, but I know I'm going to be disappointed. I mean, I know it's weird to speculate game, but knowing where the story is has been going for the past 2 games with their new writing style, and they've had the chances to do this. It'd be different if it was just like Armageddon to Mortal Kombat 9, if they wanted to start fresh. But they've started fresh since 9. This is 8 years now. They have no excuse. At this point, they have no excuse.
2 things. Crap, I actually think I forgot one of them. So one thing.
Nice.
God, I was really serious in that, wasn't I?
I was holding on to it, and I completely forgot what it was. I just knew I had something I wanted to say, but somebody did ask you a question in the chat, and I mean, I kind of want to know the answer from that too. It says, it's Don Black. He says, so my question for you is, where do you want MK11 to go from here then?
I want Mortal Kombat 11 to go something where the the 3D era characters are more representative. I want there to be this is Mortal Kombat. This is not, oh hey, Mortal Kombat Earthrealm Outworld NetherRealm edition. This is Mortal Kombat. We have characters that are from different realms, okay? And they haven't even seen the light of day. I mean, like we said, Order Realm, Order Realm, Chaos Realm. We have the Vampire Realm. We have Zatera. We have Edenia. We have all of these, realms, and we're not taking advantage of them with modern day storytelling. We're not taking advantage of a modern day graphic. Think of what the Chaos Realm would look like in modern day graphics. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
There's places to go with the story. I just don't want to. It's really hard to think because I don't know. I want something different with Mortal Kombat. I'm sorry. I'm tired of seeing the same battle.
God, you're gonna hate my fan fiction then.
Oh God. You know what? And it's like the newest characters that we're getting. Like, okay, in Mortal Kombat X, all the characters were Outworld, or either Earthrealm or Outworld.
Yeah.
Not Devora. Well,
we don't even know about her.
No,
realm.
Devora's Outworld. Like she had a world that was merged with Outworld.
Oh,
she
fuck.
originates from
Okay,
Outworld.
then never mind.
Yeah, was she Chitin or
she was
something
Chitin,
like that?
but like her realm got merged with Outworld.
Yeah,
correct?
okay.
I want to learn more about her realm then. I want to learn about, if you're going to do the Mortal Kombat 11 shit about the timelines, which I'm not going to lie, just thinking about now, wasn't there a quote unquote leak like a year ago about Mortal Kombat timelines?
Yeah.
And now we're getting a story.
No, it was unruly throwing out a theory.
No, I mean this. Hold up, Mortal Kombat. I remember seeing. Yeah, this. Give me a second.
It's a picture that says Mortal Kombat timelines, right?
Yeah,
I remember. I
yeah,
remember the
this.
leak that said, it was someone really like, it was like a weird actor was gonna voice Scorpion, but it
Yeah.
wasn't true. Obviously, I forget who the hell it
I
was. though.
posted it in general chat.
Yeah.
I remember this because it was like a couple months before E3, and I really do find it odd that we are now delving into more of a whatchamajigger, a multiverse and timeline story mode. But that's besides the point. I don't want to deal with timelines anymore. You're just going to make it more convoluted than the Marvel comic series and the DC comic series.
Nothing can get more convoluted. Don't even step into that realm.
Well, that's what they're going to start doing if they keep on talking about multiverse. I don't want to think about multiverses when I'm thinking about Mortal Kombat. I want to think about realms and the untapped potential that they have. I don't want to think about, oh, hey, you know what? Maybe in a distant, in another timeline, let's say Raiko is fucking Shao Kahn. Think of that. I just put that in your head, didn't I? Where Raiko is now Shao Kahn. I don't want to think about that shit. I want to think about other realms, not comic book shit.
I mean, like I'm with you for the most part. Like I'm ready to see them delve into like more 3D era characters, different realms. Like give Chaos and Order realm more relevance. I mean, you still bring them up in your games, yet we don't get to talk about them. And here's just my hope. From the looks of it, Mortal Kombat 11 seems like it's time to finally get ready to put the Revenant stuff to rest. And I feel like once they put all that to rest, it's time to move forward. It's legitimately time to move forward. A lot of things should be closing out here. And with that being said, it's time to bring in these new things, like bring in more realms. I'm tired. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm also tired of Earthrealm, Outworld, Netherrealm all the time. Like, for fuck's sake, like, you could be doing so much more. And it's not like I hate the characters. It's not like I hate the realms. I'm just tired of that being the center focus. Like, that
Mortal
is
Kombat is the
old.
definition of wasted potential.
Yes, it is.
I mean, they do like have a lot of wasted potential. Like, it's like they're so good that they don't realize how good they are.
Exactly, and I agree with what you said. Hopefully, after they put this Revenant shit to rest, they can just kind of like move forward and finally elaborate a little bit on what they have, like Outworld not Outworld. Sorry, that is not what we want. You know what I mean? Like the Chaos Realm and whatever. That would be just more interesting to me, considering they got like a tiny little shine in the shitty 3D era story and nobody really remembers. So I think that they deserve to get like a true limelight. Because like you said, we know about the Netherrealm, we know about Outworld, and we know about Earthrealm. We don't really know about the other ones. So
also, to me, with the story mode trailer, it's looking G.I. Joe again. I mean, with everybody has guns. Everybody has guns.
In the
Kano
Netherrealm
is coming out with a goddamn fucking minigun.
Okay, but you're talking about characters who don't even have powers, though. You got to keep that in mind.
yeah, Johnny Cage, what the hell is he supposed to defend himself with?
I mean, he has like the green.
I mean, I know he has
energy,
the
but
green
he
aura,
can still
but
get shot and die.
I'm not saying he ain't like Scorpion level power. Either.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but this is but
I mean, he got fucked up pretty bad by Jax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, until they start giving like characters like Raiden and Scorpion and Sub-Zero Glocks, I'm not worried about the whole GI Joe thing.
Yeah.
well,
Like-
Yeah, I get
how
what
they
you're saying
were
though. You just don't want them to.
portraying it, yeah.
You don't want them to focus so much on like the special forces characters in their games
Yes.
again. And like one, you gotta keep in mind that that's a lot of the roster at this point, and
Yeah,
they
that's-
don't have
that's fine.
powers. They don't. That's all they can do. But I see what you're getting at. Like I don't think you have to worry though that they're going to be like the heaviest of focus. Like, don't get me wrong, they're all going to play a good portion of the story. Because I mean, look at the characters who are special forces who will use guns. But I feel like there's going to be a focus on the Shaolins, Liu Kang and Kung Lao, which I'm actually gonna make a video talking a little bit on it because I honestly think that they might be the biggest focus if you get what I'm getting at. And then you have Scorpion and Noob Saibot, who not Noob Saibot. I'm thinking Noob Saibot in my head, but Scorpion and Sub-Zero. They also have powers. They're gonna be fighting against characters like Noob Saibot, who also has powers. But kind of like going back and remembering what I wanted to say to you earlier now. I think the biggest issue with like kind of like how they are doing the story and like how you're getting on to like how certain characters are kicking certain characters' asses and stuff, like they need to, I think something that could at least fix that portion of it is that they need to change their formula for doing the story. And I think we talked about this a bit in the past. They need to take a Street Fighter V story mode approach.
Yes,
they need to, because like their solution to it is, oh well, maybe for this chapter you can choose to be this character or this character instead of just one character. And which, yeah, it's not a bad idea, but like, what if it's two characters versus somebody who's considered OP? Like yeah, neither of them should be winning. It's just like they need to, I won't say kill the chapter system exactly. They need to like make it more like Street Fighter V, where you're not just playing the good guys, you're playing the bad guys too, and you're kicking the, in certain situations where they're matched up, you're going to be the character who should win that fight, not the character who's guarded by plot armor.
Absolutely. And it's okay, so let me bring this up. So here's my thing about the story mode. I suck with Jax. It was painful for me to fight through the 4 matches of Jax through that story mode. So tell me this. Would you rather play 4 matches with a character that you don't know, or play basically every character? Okay, so I brought facts upon my video of the why we need to get rid of the chapter system. I think Mortal Kombat X has had somewhere around 56 fights. I think it was. I think that was Mortal Kombat X's fights in story mode. Divide that by 2, everybody should be able to have 2 fights. Now tell me, would you rather have a more consistent story and, you know, everybody being able to fight twice, but the catch is that you would have to play every character once? I mean, or actually twice. Or would you, if you do not like a certain character and you cannot get into the play style of that character, have to keep on trugging with that character for 4 matches?
I mean, I just feel like that would get like really redundant really fast, because it's like they would have to start making super irrelevant side plots, because like for the majority of the villain characters there'd be no realistic fight for them to partake in that they should win. You know what I mean? In order for the story to progress, unless, like you said, the bad guys win this time. But I don't know, like
bad guys to win.
Yeah, I know, but it probably won't happen.
Yeah, I mean,
it would be awesome if Shao Kahn just like ripped off like their heads and shit, but yeah, it's probably not gonna happen. But who knows?
But I mean, I don't feel like, looking at it now, maybe they don't have to necessarily get rid of the chapter system, but instead of like name the chapter system, oh, Johnny's chapter, Jack's chapter, give it an actual relevant name and allow whatever store related character to be played during that chapter.
Yeah, so like say if it was a scene with like Johnny, Cassie, Jackie, Sonya, and Jax in the cutscene, let's say, and they're fighting, I don't know, for example, Baraka. Like, I know that's a bad example, but let's just say it could give you, like, it'll just pull up the roster, but with only those 5 characters to pick from, and then you could pick which one. I know that might take a lot of work, but I think it would be a cool way to kind of work around the weird chapter system that they've forced themselves into.
Yeah, I think though we can all just agree though that it needs to be fixed.
It needs some sort of change. I don't really like the chapter system. Even in Injustice 2, like you said, they were trying, but it's like,
I mean,
you pick one or the other. It's going to be the end result. It's going to be the same.
NetherRealm talks about all this thing about change this with the gameplay, the fatal blows, the crushing or fatal blows, the critical hits, all that. But they don't change what most of the people go to Mortal Kombat for. Because NetherRealm is really good at the single player shit. They change everything else except for the structure of the story mode. That to them is fine, which to me, and from what I've said and I've seen in my comments video, not a lot of people like. But that's me. I don't care.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to like type in the chat real quick, but is there anything else that you kind of want to like give your piece on though with the subject?
No.
Because I mean, like, you make valid points. There's a lot of stuff for them to fix, and like I said, I'm just hoping that with all this stuff being put to rest with the Revenant stuff and MK11, hopefully, which I mean, like I said, it's looking like that they just finally can move forward. But I'm gonna go ahead and say my last one, and then we're gonna kind of like take some from the chat and kind of wrap this up because one's kind of getting late over here on the East Coast, and I know if it's late here, it is extremely late for History Behind the Warrior right now. So.
Oh yeah, it's like 4 a.m. where I am at.
Yeah, I realized that when I just looked at the time, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "Yeah, we need to kind of wind it down." But
This man needs to sleep.
my last unpopular opinion, which is a very unpopular one, but I think Scorpion is one of the most boring and overrated characters in the series. Now, before I'm attacked.
I can get down with it.
Before I'm attacked, because I know he has a lot of fans out there. Keep something in mind before I can elaborate this a little bit better. I don't like Scorpion. And it's like, I don't hate him. I just don't care for him, mainly because of story-wise. But they have begun to do better with him. I kind of call him split personality. Because there's Scorpion, there's Hanzo. I don't care what anybody say, they're two different people to me. I love Hanzo.
That's what I was going to ask.
I love Hanzo. I don't like Scorpion. And they're doing better, starting with MKX, because MK9, he was even terrible there. But my thing is, why I don't like Scorpion is because literally for so many games, it was the same thing with him. Vengeance, 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 vengeance. Like, it got boring. And for you to be the face of Mortal Kombat and literally, he was a jobber too, to be honest with you. Like, his biggest, as far as like the old timeline, his biggest thing that he probably did was the not so canon, possibly canon idea that he's the one who actually beat Onaga instead of Shujinko. And honestly, I kind of feel like that one was a bit more canon, considering that Onaga returned back in. Well, no, actually, no, he made a deal with Shinnok, so actually, no, Shujinko might have killed him. But point is, like, Scorpion is boring to me. He's overrated. He's people, which I want to save it more for the power level discussion that we're going to do. But he's a strong character, but he's not as strong as what people make him out to be. And I just feel like there's so much to Scorpion that annoys me. And it bothers the crap out of me, but with the introduction of MKX and bringing Hanzo back, things are looking better. And like I said, I consider Hanzo and Scorpion two different characters. Hanzo is a freaking awesome character, story relevance, good. Like the way things are set up with him in the comics and even MKX and MK11 from what we've seen, like, is very promising. I actually love Hanzo. Like, anytime I have to play Scorpion, I use the Hanzo skin in MKX. But that's just me. None of knows.
I have
your main, yeah.
Okay, wait. So just because I know survives you to disagree, I kind of want to just play my card because I'm not totally disagreeing. Okay. I'm kind of on the fence. So I agree that Scorpion is well, just since you just mentioned it, before I forget about the power thing, I don't even consider Scorpion to be like high tier. Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean? Like, he's not even near that power. Like you said, if that Onaga ending or whatever was true, then yeah, maybe. But I don't think.
Well, that was as the Elder Gods champion, though. So
yeah. That's right. So, aside from that, though, I mean,
like you said, Hanzo and him are two entirely different characters. I feel like maybe if they would have written him more, like, I mean, I know they tried for the whole internal struggle thing, but I just feel like it wasn't done well enough. And since it was really only touched on in the comics, it's not really just, you know what I mean? So it looks like they might be trying to touch on that a bit more in Mortal Kombat 11. But I agree. Scorpion, it was literally just the same fucking thing for 25 years, like vengeance. And then finally they started to give him a bit of an interesting development with Hanzo, but that's, like you said, it's almost like two different characters. So, I mean, I kind of agree with you. I'm not entirely against Scorpion. Of course, he's the face, right? And I know you're not saying that you hate him, but I'm kind of, I agree with you. I definitely coming from, but yeah, like I'm interested to see what Survived has to say about this.
Weirdly enough, I'm actually for Legends name.
Okay,
as a Scorpion,
that's
as a
Scorpion
Scorpion main, and everybody, if anybody doesn't know, I literally have like 2 Scorpion statues, a fucking
Oh, I know.
and I've even pre-ordered a collector's edition just for the Scorpion helmet. So, and I've even spent $80 on the course edition just to get the gold Scorpion skin. All right, I love Scorpion, but I will agree that Scorpion is pretty fucking bland. That's why I said X was the most X's most interesting part was the Hanzo and Kuai Liang agreement. You know, the alliance. Now, what and that's why I'm so afraid of this, because that and it's not like, you know, yeah, we see Hanzo and Kuai Liang working with each other, but like you guys said, Scorpion is the face of Mortal Kombat. If Mortal Kombat 12, they won't change him to Hanzo Hasashi. People know him by Scorpion, and it scares me to think that they're going to kill Hanzo just to have Scorpion back again for Mortal Kombat 12. I agree that, yeah, Scorpion is not all that powerful and is bland as fuck. Okay? But that's what I'm scared about, is them turning Hanzo back to Scorpion. And we're just going to lose all the progress that we've ever made.
I don't think they are. I mean, like, yeah, they're presenting old Scorpion from the previous timeline, but I think a lot of it's going to be with certain characters fighting their old. So, like, I feel like new Scorpion's going to fight old Scorpion. Old Johnny, or new Johnny, is going to be trying to deal with old Johnny, with how arrogant he was, and he's just like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I was like that. I feel like that's going to be, like, the dynamic with them, and it's just going to be sort of more of, like, seeing the two different dynamics clash between old school, new school. And pretty much they've kind of shown by showing us scenes from, like, things that are currently going on, that they're going to continue to go with what they left off with the MKX. I don't think this is going to be like a complete revamp or reboot like what they did with Mortal Kombat 9.
Yeah, and like I do want to believe that, but there is something in my back of my head that says that it's a possibility. So I'm always wary. I like Hanzo Hasashi, and I do not want him reverting back to Scorpion.
No, I definitely agree.
Yeah, and I know that probably surprised you and Nick because of how big of a how
I am. I don't know if you've noticed how quiet I've been.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, I really wanted to hear what you have to say.
I was like, wait.
Like, I'm sitting here, I was like, I expected so much backlash from either
I
you
thought he
or
was
the
gonna
chat.
fight your head off.
And I'm sitting here, I'm thinking like maybe I would have got backlash if I would have said the same thing about Melina, because I think the same thing about her too.
Oh, I said my
I was like, I did not get the backlash I thought I was gonna get.
Yeah. I'm actually cool with that statement. Yeah, I believe it is true.
Oh well, what do you think about this history around the world? You've been a little bit quiet about the subject.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm much more interested in Hanzo Hasashi as a character, because Scorpion is literally a one-trick pony. I'm really angry. Let me go after this person. Oh, he's made me really mad. Oh, I'm gonna get him now. And that's Scorpion. And basically the entire
Old man
timeline.
Scorpion.
And that really,
Old man, washed up Scorpion, damn youth, I'm gonna get you with my anger. That's basically him. He's just an angry old man trying to chase after people. And that was his shtick for a long time. I'm happy they've managed to break away from the shackles. I just want them to explore more of the character that isn't him being really pissed off again. Because for fuck's sake, even in MKX when they had him kill Quan Chi, which is fair enough, it was a very, very sweet moment for me because I fucking hate Quan Chi. But I don't know what is about the character. It's just something about him I just do not like. But like, literally, I hope that this entails the
I got
end.
a bald head.
I just hope this entails the end for that whole story arc, because if the comics have gone to show anything, it's that there's so much more to Hanzo's character than being pissed all the time. Those comics did so much for him as a character and really, really helped open him up. It really, really helped me understand and see him from this different kind of broken hero, I guess. So I want them to explore that. I really, really do.
And that's why, like, I'm actually beginning to care for the character, but I'm realizing that there really is this a difference between Hanzo and Scorpion. Like, after the comics and like a bit of what he went through in the MKX, and like even with some of the MK11 intros, and like seeing that little scene with him and Sub-Zero, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a Hanzo fan. Like, I really like what they've changed him to be. Like, he's not just vengeance all the time no more. Like, there's so much more depth to him, and I'm like, that's what he needed all this time. Because like, Scorpion, you're the face of Mortal Kombat, yet you're one of the most boring characters as far as story relevance. And not just that, you're like overrated because a lot of people think that he's just like this really strong character, and he's not. And it just, the fact that they're taking him in such a different direction with Hanzo, like, I really appreciate it. And then just like I said, those MK11 intros, even like with like the new voice actor and everything, like, I'm really loving Hanzo. Like, I'm actually might play Scorpion in this game because I like what they did with his gameplay as well. Granted, a lot of stuff is not safe. A lot of stuff's not safe.
I wouldn't.
But like,
I wouldn't. As a Scorpion main, I wouldn't.
But like, it's just, I'm just so interested in like all these years, guys. So many MK games, and they like changed his spear, and like the little come here thing. It's just like, I don't know. It's just so many little itty bitty things. There's just like, wow, like I have a lot of interest in you in this game for some weird reason. Even with the terrible, like, I'm not gonna say terrible gameplay because we ain't got to see a tier list yet, but just a chance he could be low tier. But it's just that I'm really digging the Hanzo stuff. This point and simple. But anybody else have any last inputs as far as like the Scorpion? Okay, so
no.
Before we end, we're gonna take two more unpopular opinions from the chat. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys get to typing if you have anything that you want to say, and we're gonna quickly discuss on them before ending.
While
the
they're
stream.
typing, DLC? Question mark.
Oh, discussion on D. I would love to say that for like a separate video,
okay.
but just, dude, like, get
God,
my
have I
point.
got like these bunch of horror character lists with like Chucky and then like,
Doom Guy. Doom Guy.
The day that Chucky
Killer
enters
Instinct.
Mortal
Annabelle.
Kombat, like, I am so done with their DLC. Like, I'm sorry, that just,
oh god,
that's
it's
just
like the equivalent. That is literally the Yoda equivalent
to
of
Soul
fucking
Calibur.
Soul Calibur 4. That is
Play
literally.
Terrordrome.
I'm good.
Oh gosh,
God.
I just don't
But no.
get it.
Doom. I want Doom Slayer, and I want a Killer Instinct character, but because of Xbox, I know that's not gonna, or that it probably could happen, but because of crossplay shit, I would be down for I don't know, anybody but Pennywise and Spawn, and that's an unpopular opinion right there.
Yeah, well, that is an unpopular opinion. 'Cause
Actually, I don't like Spawn either. I'll agree with that.
I mean, honestly, I don't want no guest characters, but that's just me. But at the same time, though, like, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I know I'm gonna save some stuff from like the DLC, like conversation we're probably gonna have, but it's just as far as guest characters, I feel like they're kind of laid out. Pennywise is gonna be a DLC character. I know you guys are so against it, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I could get a
Michael.
chainsaw inbred. I can get a chainsaw wielding inbred. I can get a highly deformed fucking slasher from a lane.
I liked Leatherface. But he was a little necessary. Like Jason made sense, but Leatherface, it was like, dude, what the fuck are you even? What are you guys doing?
Leatherface was extra as shit because nobody saw that coming. We weren't expecting
No,
to get
and
another
I love
one.
Leatherface, and I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but goddamn, we didn't need him.
In his defense,
like it's like
though,
the classic battle, Alien versus Predator, and your favorite Jason versus Leatherface. It's like
Actually, that was a comic though. No
yeah,
joke.
but Freddy versus Jason, dude, come on.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But like, truth be told, Leatherface should have never touched that DLC.
No,
I like the Texas Chainsaw
love
Massacre
Leatherface's
movies,
name
but
is
I'm not gonna
actually
lie, he was fun. A little, he was kind of
Nicholas
fun.
He is
asked,
actually broken as shit.
Yeah, like
He is. That's what made him fun.
Nicholas said Sector was the most boring cyber ninja.
I think Smoke was the most boring Cyber Ninja.
Smoke
'cause
is
he
probably the most boring.
hardly
He's my favorite.
represented Smoke.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm a robot with a harpoon gun, and I'm not Smoke. It's like, okay.
Okay, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and take two because I see two. All right. So the first one I see is unpopular opinion: Deadpool for MK11.
Marvel.
Marvel. Yeah, it would never happen because of
Nah.
Marvel, but he. In retrospect, he would
especially with
work.
it being owned by Warner Brothers.
Yeah, he
as
would
well.
definitely work, but
would
not
work
only
in
is he
retrospect.
Marvel versus Capcom as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I was gonna go for Marvel personally, I would take the Punisher. Like that would
Yeah,
be my pick.
absolutely.
Oh, like 110%,
Oh, I'm
man.
such a big fan of Punisher.
Oh, dude, same. The Punisher's my favorite Marvel character, and I mean, if they're ever gonna get a Marvel character, I would just so prefer it be him.
Oh,
I have no input.
Punisher and the Iron Man suit. Oh, that was so badass.
But as for our second unpopular opinion, I know I saw somewhere. Unpopular opinion: Ash Williams from Evil Dead.
I'd see that work.
I mentioned it earlier in the live stream. I don't really want any more horror characters, but he is a little different considering A, he's the protagonist, not like a generic slasher, and B, he talks. So I would be happy with that. Like I would much prefer him over the likes of Pennywise or Michael Myers.
I mean,
The guy has so much character too.
He
Fuck
does.
Yeah, he's Ash versus Evil Dead. Like if you haven't seen that,
I'm
you have
so
to fucking
sad that
watch
got
it.
cancelled.
I
I'm
know,
so
dude.
so
Pablo
sad.
was like A-tier character, man.
Yeah, and you have to think about it, like he is more kind of self-absorbed than fucking Johnny Cage. I don't know how
Yeah.
you can even do
Yeah.
that. So,
And it would be
I mean,
cool-
he has, but still.
It would be definitely easy for them considering, like we said with Leatherface, they had the chainsaw mechanics in MKX, so like it's not like it would be impossible. It's not out of the possibility, that's for sure. I feel like it would have made more sense if Ash versus Evil Dead was still running, though. Like the fact that it
Crowder
got
does
canceled.
have a good question. Well,
What's
not
that?
question, but
yeah,
I
like I,
feel
saw
like we do
two
not-
of them that caught me.
Yeah.
That's one of them though.
yeah.
No, go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
Oh, I feel like we do not need a kid for Kano, and I feel like they're just
Oh.
forcing the next gen at this point. Now,
Oh,
I
I
will
completely
I will
agree.
say this: me making that video was a mistake. Okay, I hate the fact that I actually made that discussion video. I look back on that, I'm like, ugh. God,
Didn't
why
we
did I
all
do
like?
that?
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it the last character discussion we did live stream where it was like we were talking about Kano, and I think we got onto that subject about his son, and we
Yeah.
all just
Mhm.
started ripping that idea to shreds. We were all
Kira.
like, no.
Kira. Okay,
Yeah.
if you want to do like Kano's kid, at least give Kira some development. Someone who's actually in the canon. Because
Well, it's like Kano.
Kung
Like I
Lao
think. Well,
and-
sorry.
Sorry, no, you go.
I was just gonna say, I think like the main thing we said too was like Kano doesn't really have anything to like pass on to a kid other than the ball roll, and that would be so stupid. It's not even funny.
It's already
It's
stolen.
already been stolen twice, if I'm correct.
That's what I mean. So like, no, no Kano-san. And I mean, who's gonna have a kid with Kano? Like, try and paint that picture for me. You'd have to get some nasty outworld.
Really?
Like,
No,
Here.
hold up. Really, really disgusting ways that I don't talk about. I think it wasn't in the likes.
oh, damn,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm getting a really dark picture with Kano.
Ew.
He pisses
Anyway.
on the floor for Christ's sakes.
That's funny.
I mean, come on. the dude's dirty.
But the last
But-
one, I was going.
I like what History Behind the Warrior said earlier. Keep making him more Australian every game. It's so
yes,
true.
it is.
Oh, no.
But
That's not a knife.
I was gonna say the last one we're gonna take from the chat is unpopular opinion. Ashura and revamped Shujinko, and I'm kind of curious with History Behind the Warrior and Nick, y'all kind of input on this. Or was it?
Who's going first?
Let History Behind the Warrior go first, because I know he has.
Yeah.
He ripped into the 3D era characters earlier.
Yeah.
Ashura, yes. Shijenko. Here's what we do with Shijenko. We cut them into tiny little pieces. We throw them in a bin. We feed it to the dog. The dog shit. You burn the shit. And then we throw away the ashes. Then we burn the ashes. And you know what? We get it. We throw it into the water. We burn the water. Gone.
Physics.
Fuck that character. Get rid of him.
I'm actually on the same side as History Behind the Warrior, to be honest with you. I'll take Ashura being revamped, but Shujinko is like a human chameleon. Like,
Yeah.
he had potential, but it just... I don't like characters like that. You're just a bunch of mashed up characters. It was boring as shit. Then you're like some old crusty guy.
It's like literally
brush
for-
my teeth
for-
with a toilet brush than see that character return ever again.
For Shujinko though, it's like, what would you rather have? An old man who can copy everyone's techniques, or a cool ninja that can copy everyone's
The cool
techniques?
fucking ninja.
So everyone's gonna rather pick Chameleon, and I'm not defending Chameleon, but I'm just saying, like, if they're gonna take that concept, I feel like they'd use Chameleon before Shujinko. But as for Ashura, yeah, definitely, I could see her being like one of the most badass 3D era females. Like, I think she could, and like you guys were saying earlier with the Revenant story, it might be late now, but I think they could tie her in pretty well, and I think she could be cool.
Yeah.
As long as they gave her some more unique moves and stuff, yeah. Like, revamp is the key word there.
Yeah, that's what I'm pushing for is Ashura Revenant. I feel like they should have done that from the start with X.
Yeah, they should have. But again, they pick and chose who they wanted, the fuckers.
Yeah, which really sucks, because they really could have gave Ashura relevance, and even Serena. I mean, these are two NetherRealm characters who were fighting to kind of like be better, and I feel like that could have helped like the Revenant characters in some way. But like,
You know
especially
what,
like
though?
with the Kung Jin ending.
I feel like Serena could be one of the niche DLC characters later on, though. Like, possibly.
Possibly.
Because she did show up in the story, and she wasn't like the other ones where it was like you could fight her and it pissed everyone off. She literally was just in a cutscene, kind of like Frost, and they brought Frost back. So I mean, that's a pretty like bold assumption, but maybe they'll bring her back as a DLC later on.
Lore-wise, she would kind of make sense as well. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
In lore sense, yeah, she would be around that time period, and you don't have to retcon in Devora and Aaron Black into combat, tournament and shit.
Yeah.
I could have said that's an unpopular opinion, but I feel like that might be popular. I didn't think Devora should have returned, but that's just me. But anyways, I think that's going to be it as far as the unpopular opinions. Of course, if anybody watches this in the future, this 3-hour-long discussion and History Behind the Warrior's funny ass rants.
Yeah, those were the best part.
That is literally the best part.
Please
We need to make that a series.
yeah, please make that.
Was
History
that,
Behind
is
the
that going
Warrior.
to literally
Rants
just
behind
be
the
a
warrior.
segment of every single one of these? Like, what's pissed you off this week?
Rants behind the warrior.
Wow.
We should make a title card and everything, like a game show, like History Behind the Warrior Roast, and then the episode.
come up with like different things that we know he doesn't care for, and just give it to him so he can like spend like an hour or so roasting it.
Oh no.
But like I was gonna say, if anybody watches this in the future, definitely like let us still know in the comments below what your unpopular opinions are about Mortal Kombat. And even if you're in the stream now, you want to just throw them in there, go ahead. But we're gonna go ahead and call this it. We actually do have some very cool topics coming up for the future, so I hope you guys can look forward to that. Of course, please be sure to go check out these guys' channels. They're all freaking amazing. Each of them are funny. They put out great content. So definitely, if you're from my channel, go check out their channel, subscribe, check out their videos. But like I said, this is going to be it for now. This is Legend X Ronin and all of these guys. And we'll see you guys in the next discussion video.